Okay, it's just basically showing how handsome he is. I'm okay with that.
I accept that.
Yeah, I'm okay because it's true.
I can't start my day like that, Lonzo. I can't.
I was scared, and
I got real scared for just a second.
And I didn't see Denzel anywhere because usually Denzel's the first thing you see, and then you know everything's good.
I got real nervous for just a second when, as we're about to go on the air, the great one says, "Uh-oh, Sam Elliott's trending," and I thought, no, not today, Twitter. Don't you start my day like this. I can't have it. But it's okay. He's just trending because people are, much like myself on a regular basis, just talking about how handsome he is. So, but if you're going to trend, that's the number one reason to trend, right?
I think it's every man's dream to look that good when they get older. It's not working for me. I'm trying, you know. The hair's going white, so we'll see what happens
you need a cowboy mustache.
I could do that. It's
cowboy mustache.
Things tend to get thicker on your face.
You're telling me you could go cowboy mustache and you don't go cowboy mustache? If I could go cowboy mustache, it's all I do.
Yeah, but I think mine will look more like Wilford Brimley. And you know,
diabetes.
I don't want to look like Wilford Brimley or like the dude from Major League, the manager. Yeah, I don't want to look like that guy.
That's a win, boys. You put two more of those together, that's a streak. How'd that guy get into Hollywood? I mean, I guess it works as that and nothing else in the world of movies. You can be gruff sports coach with that voice, but nothing else.
No, he was in another movie for a brief moment of time before he was. I think he survived. He was in Silverado.
I don't think I saw Silverado.
I think there's only a couple of guys in this bleep as one of them. You didn't see with Danny Glover and
I don't think I did.
And Goldblum's in it, and Kevin Kline.
Hang on, I'm looking it up.
I'm just telling you all the stars, and Scott Glenn, and it's my favorite Western of all time.
See, that's a shot. Okay, Google. I don't need 19 different damn AI tools. Just let me look up what I'm looking up. All right, Silverado movie. This is the type of
it's 6 a.m. man. Come on, it's 6
a.m. A 1985 Western. Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Danny Glover, Kevin Costner, Brian Dennehy.
Yeah,
Rosanna Arquette.
He's the bad guy, Brian Dennehy.
Yo, John Cleese is in this movie.
Yeah, he is.
I'm watching this movie tonight.
Everybody's in this movie.
Goldblum's in it. I'm watching this movie tonight.
I have the box set DVD that has an extended thing that talks about Westerns and a bunch of stuff. It's got like 5 discs in it. It just, because I really enjoyed that movie.
I'm watching this movie tonight. I love all these people. And by the way, John Cleese, one of the funniest human beings to ever grace a television screen. So if he's in it, I know it's good.
It's got the one female, I can't remember her name, but she was the first woman girl that Freddy Krueger killed.
Rosanna Arquette?
No. That wasn't Rosanna.
Lynn Whitfield?
She's blonde.
Linda Hunt?
No,
Linda Hunt plays what's her name from The Incredibles too.
Yeah, she's great in this movie. By the way,
she's great in every movie.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to start off our day with, I guess not obscure Western. Apparently, I'm like the only person who hasn't seen this.
It makes sense. Were you alive in '85?
I was when this movie came out in 1985. It was I need the date. I mean, yes, likely.
I think it
dropped July 10th. I was like 3 months old.
Yeah, I think it might be the only Western I ever went to the movies to see. No, I saw the one with Eastwood where he's working for the prostitutes and kills. It goes up against Curly Bill. And Morgan Freeman dies. I forget what the name. Unforgiven. Yeah, I saw that.
Unforgiven's a great movie. That is a great movie. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, welcome in the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Happy, what's today? Tuesday? Is today Tuesday? Today's Tuesday.
By the way, quick show note, if you're on the stream, I've killed all music. We got flagged again. We got flagged again yesterday.
We did.
No, after that.
In Germany again?
I didn't check it yet. I got to check and see.
Yesterday, we got flagged for trademark impropriety, copyright impropriety in Russia. Okay, fine. And Belarus.
Belarus pulled the plug on our video.
So now Now the Rob Brown Show is banned across the axis of evil. We're banned by Vladimir Putin. And for some reason, Belarus.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't I don't get. I gotta be honest.
We're really not cool in Eastern Europe.
I don't remember where Belarus is.
It's Eastern Europe. It
sounds close to Russia to me.
It's like right between what you consider mainland Europe and Russia. It's like wedged in between the two of them. It's northeast of Italy and the last country you get to before you get to Russia if you're going that direction. So basically, it's like Russia light.
All right. So we got flagged again yesterday. This time, after that, this is from UMG for something called Spring Storm from Blue Hinder. It looks like Scandinavian of some sort. And the other one's German. And we don't have any German stuff on here.
We're like the opposite of David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, I don't get it. So you're saying I should continue to play the music?
Do it anyway. I don't care.
We get flagged every day.
Bring it, Germany.
All right, fine.
Bring it, Germany. See if I care.
I just don't want to get kicked off of Facebook, and it's my fault. That's all.
I don't think we're getting kicked off of Facebook.
All right, you're right. America doesn't seem to care, so we're okay. Screw you, Belarus. We're playing music. All right.
See if I care, Belarus. See if I care. We're not allowed in Belarus. I'll live. I'll get over it. How do you end up getting banned in Belarus? What do we do?
Here's the thing. I mean, how many other shows can say they've been banned in Belarus?
And Russia and Iran and North Korea and Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, they keep claiming our videos. I don't know when they claim your video, what does that mean? Do they use it? It's our video now. We'll do what we want. They're using it for propaganda over there.
I genuinely have no idea.
Here's what America looks like. You don't want to be this. I don't know.
All I need is for us to become like the face of Viva la Revolution in Belarus for no reason.
Yeah,
I spoke French, but you get the point.
Yeah, they're pirating internet just to watch the show. I'm down with that.
One day we're gonna end up with one of those super dope, like old communist propaganda pictures of like you and me silhouetted sideways in front of a red and yellow background.
Okay. Or like with that.
I really want that now, actually.
That X thing across,
Now I want a communist propaganda poster of me and Zoe with the People's Radio.
I don't. I'm already on certain radars because of my other job. I don't need to be on that radar too.
You can dislike the philosophy, but you have to admit those posters go hard.
Oh, they do, but we
hard.
could do it, but make it a video game thing. So yeah, we're in a dystopian video game where
All right, kids, we got a lot we got to get to on the radio broadcast today. Russell Wilson's unemployed, being released by the Denver Broncos after 2 seasons. The team announced yesterday that he will be riding to the unemployment. He's not going to be unemployed very long. There's going to be a lot of teams that make a push for one last ride. Yeah, he wants 2 more Super Bowls. Why wouldn't you take the guy?
Can we make like a bet on this?
I will bet you Russell Wilson is on a team by draft day.
All right, let's bet a lunch.
Okay, bet.
Okay,
bet.
All right.
We'll go to that place you went the other day.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Good with it.
Yeah, okay.
Good with it.
All right.
Russell Wilson would be on a team by draft day. I am comfortable saying that. Russell Wilson statistically last year was not the problem.
I'm looking at the menu here in a minute to find out what you're buying me. He's not going to be on a roster.
He'll be on a roster.
It was overrated, and then saw his limitations. If Sean Payton can't fix you,
here's what I'll say, because I am going to take advantage of Lonzo in this situation, and here's why.
Because you have a PhD.
What in the hell?
Yeah, let's not do that again.
Stuff's just falling apart. Over here.
Yeah. Luckily, it didn't land on the button because it could have fired something.
So Russell Wilson last year, amongst quarterbacks who threw 50 passes or more. Lonzo, quick, top of your head, play a little game. How many NFL teams are there off the top of your head?
I believe there's 32.
32 32 NFL teams, which means there were on opening day 32 starting quarterbacks in the National Football League, of which Russell Wilson was one of them. Of the 32 quarterbacks last year, of quarterbacks who recorded at least 50 throws. Now, that does obviously bring backups into the equation as well.
I was going to say, because this whole thing is tainted. What you're about to do, it's not going to work.
Whoa, it is going to work.
Because everybody was hurt last year. So you're going to prove that Russell Wilson is better than a bunch of backups. No. That's what you're going to. Okay, all right.
I'm going the opposite direction. I am pointing out that once again, the fault lies with people who think the only position that matters on the football field is the quarterback. Of the 32 starting quarterbacks last year, of quarterbacks in the NFL that threw at least 50 passes, when it came to time in a clean pocket per drop back pass, Russell Wilson ranked 36th out of 32 starting quarterbacks. In terms of average time in a clean pocket, Russell Wilson ranked 36th of all quarterbacks. That means if you take the 32 starting quarterbacks, you then have to add 4 more backups who got more time than Russell Wilson did to deliver football, and statistically was on par with Patrick Mahomes while he did it.
I just want to ask you a question as a knower of ball, as someone with PhD like you, because I, again, have said I've got my GED and it was a struggle. Is there a possibility in these stats, because I'm sure they don't say that maybe that person, that quarterback, maybe got happy feet and maybe there was time, but because they're losing it, they ran out of it. So the stat doesn't show that.
This statistic is measured by the time you are in touching distance of a defensive player.
So I don't think you're getting my point.
So unless you think Russell Wilson takes the snap, finds a different color jersey, and just runs right at it, no. And while Russell Wilson might get a little pass happy, I don't think I've ever seen him run into a defensive tackle over and over and over and over and over again.
If there was ever going to be another butt fumble, it would be Russell Wilson.
But there's not been another butt fumble.
Russell
Wilson.
You know what? There won't be this season, at least not when you think it is. And I'm getting a free lunch. Free lunch. I never bet anymore. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that.
Yeah, and the fact that I'm willing to bet on this, that might scare. I mean, you do a betting show, so you would know more than me. But I already have that cut.
You have that one?
Yes.
Damn, I thought I.
You can't.
Fine, it's gone. All right.
No. Actually,
it's gone.
I may not have the full cut. I may just have the.
Wrong.
I just have the first part.
Oh, that's
so
now I deleted it.
Well, why'd you do? I said wait.
Okay, I'm bringing it back.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
Hilariously, that's what I was looking for. And then I found that. And I'm like, that's even better.
Maybe you heard it because you heard me play it like many times.
Point
possibly.
Here is, you're going to lose. Russell Wilson's going to be a starting quarterback in the league next year. And now we get to ask the question.
By the way, he might be, but you said that he'd be on a team by draft day.
Oh, I think he will be on a team by draft day.
When's the draft?
April 25th. March 14th is actually, I think it's March 13th, is the Happy League New Year. Blah, 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 blah. And that's the day. There it is. I don't have a club. I need a club horn.
We can do dueling club horns. That'll be fine.
I might just go manual club horn. So Russell Wilson will be released on the League New Year, which is coming up here in about 8-9 days from now. And when he does, he will be eligible to go somewhere else. By the way, the Denver Broncos taking on $85 million in dead cap. You know how much you gotta hate a guy to take on $85 million? You know what the next highest all-time dead cap space is? I looked it up this morning because 85 felt like a lot. Turns out it was. The next highest dead cap charge in the history of the NFL salary cap era was when the Atlanta Falcons let Matt Ryan, not Ryan, go. $40 million. They are doing over double and then more of dead cap money to not have Russ on the team.
We hate you twice as much. Yeah.
Holy crap on a stick. Is that a lot of dead cap money? The Falcons, I remember when the Falcons cut Matty Ice, there was a lot of us who were kind of disappointed by it, right? You're like, this dude pretty much laid it all on the line for your team, and you sucked around him, not the other way around. 40 mil of dead cap money. And it was like, all right, he done ticked off somebody up in the locker room. The Broncos are eating $85 million of dead cap money to not have Russell Wilson on the what? I have to imagine. The only thing I can think of is that like sometime around week 9, remember when it got weird in week 9? Like it started to get weird. It was like watching
right about the time when they released that Let's Ride video.
Yeah.
Around that time.
Watching the Broncos around week 9 was like super awkward, right? It was like watching, you know how sometimes you got that married couple in your life, and they're obviously going through some marital difficulties, but they're trying, right? They're working it out. They own a house together. They got a dog, maybe a kid. Like they got to work it out. And then they call you one day and they're like, hey, we're doing a little get together at the house. And you're like, oh man, I don't know. Nah. But you go because you're a good friend. You're supportive, right? Your boys had your back.
Or maybe you go to see the train wreck, depending on who you are.
Your lady has been friends with this lady for years. You're a good friend. So he says, your boy calls you. He's like, hey, we're doing a little couples get together at the casa. Why don't you swing on by? And so you do. And you show up and you bring your little veggie plate. You sit it down on the table and they're like, hey, we're going to play some games. And you're like, oh God, no. But you do it because again, you're a good friend. So you sit on the couch and they're like, we're going to play charades. We're going to play charades and we're going to do couples v. couples. So you're sitting there and you and your wife go and it's 3 words. It's a movie and you guess it and you guys are, and then it's their turn. And the husband stands up and he's like 3 and she goes 3 words. And he's like, yeah, 3 words. And then he starts acting it out and she starts guessing a bunch of stuff that's not the thing he's trying to say. And the next thing you know, she's like, hey, you suck. And he's like, yeah, you slept with all my friends. And she's like, well, maybe if you were better in bed. And it's like this whole thing. And you're watching this from the couch like, this is awkward for everybody.
Look at that. It's getting kind of late. Time for us to go.
Yep, time to hit the old dusty trail. And it's awkward. It's awkward for everybody involved. That was the Denver Broncos last year. Like you could tell. And the only thing that I can imagine happened was at some point around week 8, Russ Wilson showed up to the office and he walked in. Sean was over in the corner. Remember, Russ is still mad because Russell Wilson had his own damn office, right? Had his own office. And Sean walked in. He's like, yeah, no, boss. That's not how this is going to go. Russ didn't work out with the Denver Broncos coaching staff. He had his own coaching staff off to the side. Sean was like, no, dog, absolutely not. You're part of this team. You will be part of this team. You're going to be part of this team. And Russell Wilson walked up to Sean Payton. And Sean Payton was standing there, and he had his little list of things that he had to take away from Russell Wilson. And Russ walked up to him, and the only thing that I can imagine Russ did was just kick Sean square in the nads, because that's what this feels like. $85 million in debt. That is the dude who wants to get divorced so bad that he's like, you can have the house, you can have the cars, you can have the dog, you can have the bank account. I will sleep in the back of a 92 Corolla if it gets me the hell away from you. That's what the Broncos feel like right now. They're going to bed in the back of a 92 Corolla because that's how much they hate their ex, Russell Wilson.
Are they making the wrong choice choosing the coach over the quarterback.
I got to be real with you. It's kind of hard to say no, dude. Like, it's kind of hard to say no. It's kind of hard to think that after what we saw out of the Broncos this past season and the numbers that Russell Wilson was putting up, despite playing in an absolutely and entirely offense, it's hard to believe. Listen, there's a lot of Saints fans. There's a few Saints fans who have argued with me many times and many times again. Sean Payton wasn't a great coach. He just had Drew Brees.
All right. So I just want to say I was listening to Amy Lawrence as I was setting up the show this morning, and they were talking about it, and she was talking to someone on the inside, I think, if I recall. And
she got a guy.
And they were saying that they had to limit the offense because of Russell Wilson, because of his lack of ability, and that they're looking forward to getting someone else in there, even talking about Jared Stidham, because they could open up the offense. So when you're talking about Jared Stidham opening up the offense over Russell Wilson, I think that says a lot about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it also says that guy is dumb and doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay. I disagree. Russell Wilson was not that good when he was with Seattle. I said the same thing when he went to Denver. He's not that good. And not being not that good and being 35 and diminishing means you're not as good as you were when you weren't that good in Seattle. So
listen,
maybe there's a point of desperation somewhere, but the signs are pointing to him he'll be a backup maybe.
The appeal to popularity.
Just take Sierra and go home. I mean, you're good. You don't need this job anymore. Go on, Russell. Ride into the sunset.
The appeal to popularity is a logical fallacy that I warn you all about all the time. Just because something is very popular does not make it correct. However, I am going to go directly opposite of that and say the group of people that think that Russell Wilson is actively bad is like Lonzo, that one guy on Amy's show, and like 7 other people. Now, I'm not sitting here arguing he's still a Pro Bowler. He's still a GOAT. What I'm saying is there's a lot of quarterbacks worse than Russell Wilson, and I, for one, I cannot wait unless they do something wild. But again, going to be tough to make money moves when you've got $85 million in dead cap money for a quarterback because you don't like him personally, and it feels like it's a personally kind of thing here. Good the hell luck getting a guy. And if you think that Jared Stidham is the guy that's going to replace Russell Wilson, Lonzo, I would like to congratulate you because your division just got 25% easier next year.
Yeah, see, there's a couple things going on there with me. I mean, I'm always playing several different sides. So yeah, Denver could suck worse. I'm okay with that.
Denver is objectively going to be worse next year. Objectively, to me. That's not like, here's my opinion. I mean, they're going to be a worse football team. All right, we got a lot more to talk. We got to talk about this more too. It's rare that you have a quarterback conversation about a team on the other side of the country that feels as compelling as this, but it does.
All right, Germany, Belarus. This song is called Sit On It, Potsy. So if you're going to say this is German, you go for it.
Hey, Belarus, sit on it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, live reading. We're coming right back. Y'all stay right there. And also, good morning. right, dudes and dudettes, we're back. Thanks for hanging out, and good morning, kids.
What he meant to say is good morning.
No, we didn't.
Kevin, even you, when you typed that, had to think, this is not going to work.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Montana. Spreading the word
Hi, Joe.
Joe Montana was a quarterback, you idiot.
If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer. Sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. Welcome to the ultimate playground for online social casino enthusiasts. Get ready to live the Chumba life and play over 100 online casino-style games for free at ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Mark Ryan shows it like it is. Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode.
So McAfee's going to be doing his show that Friday in Philadelphia, but he's not going to be doing anything at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm.
He's getting in there with Gunther.
Oh, you did? That's what, did you still haven't got to that part from last night, have you?
No.
So Gunther hasn't wrestled yet.
No.
I love what they're doing because you have no idea who's
None.
going to be wrestling.
I am intrigued, I guess is the word. Quarterback news is always a big deal in the National Football League. It's the most important position on the football field, and you will not find an American who disagrees with that. It's the most important position. It's the most compelling position. It is the position that breeds the most superstars.
America.
It is the position that gives you the most drama. It is the most important position on the football field. And therefore, it is the most compelling position on the football field. Every year in the NFL draft, you're going to hear talk about receivers and running backs and defensive players, but let's call it what it is. What are we all really interested in right now? The quarterback position. Is it Jaden Daniels? Is it Drake May? Is it Caleb Williams? Hey, would you look at that? Bo Nix and J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix Jr. all toe it up during the combine. Now, all of a sudden, I'm reading draft write-ups saying that J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix are first-round candidates. Check down Charlie Bo Nix. JJ, my team ran it 2 times in the second half against Penn State. McCarthy, it's a real long nickname. Our first-round picks, we love quarterback drama. And even in the face of loving quarterback drama, very rarely does a story like the Russell Wilson story get as much attention as the Russell Wilson story is getting right now. Russell Wilson is in Denver for 2 years. The second of those 2 years, Denver gets rid of a garbage head coach. Nathaniel can't hack it. And they bring in a former Lombardi Trophy winner in Sean Payton. Sean Payton gets there, and everybody's like, uh-oh, Would you look at this? Now, all of a sudden, you got a Lombardi Trophy winner at the HC. You got a Lombardi Trophy winner at the QB. You got a pretty damn decent set of wide receivers. Look out.
All right, I'm detecting some Rashad Beard hate here. Have you turned it on? Is that what we're doing here about Sean Payton?
No, it's not.
Okay,
it's
I'm
not
just
that.
checking.
It's not that at all. I'm setting this up. The thought is you're bringing in a Lombardi Trophy winner. Like I said, I've got people that I still talk sports with that firmly believe Sean Payton's a good head coach. But Sean Payton's ability, success, whatever, has been blown out of proportion because he had Drew Brees.
Yeah, but he won you a Super Bowl. That doesn't do anything
Right.
for you.
But the counter argument to that was he won you a Super Bowl.
There are some coaches who never do that.
I don't disagree. There are few coaches that have Drew Brees. It's one thing to win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. It's a different thing to have Drew Brees. Now, in fairness, you do have the missed pass interference call, and maybe the Saints go to the Super Bowl over the Rams that year. Maybe Drew Brees tops of Tom Brady. Maybe the Saints have two, in which case I think there would be a lot less questioning of Sean Payton. But whether you like it or not, at the end of the day, Sean Payton has a Super Bowl, and he got that Super Bowl in a year in which Drew Brees put up historic numbers at the quarterback spot. Now, you obviously, as this entire industry is set up to do, we can discuss in the debate, were Drew Brees' historic numbers because of Sean Payton, alongside, in conjunction with Sean Payton, or in spite of Sean Payton? And everybody's going to have their opinion. It's a debate, sure. But there's a lot of folks out there, and I got to be real with you, I'm not sure that I'm not one of them, that think that Sean Payton's a pretty average head coach who happened to get fortunate to be partnered up with an all-time legend in Drew Brees. And I don't care how you feel. I think even Rashad Beard would acknowledge Drew Brees is an all-time great. If you are listing top 5 quarterbacks all time, as far as I'm concerned, Brees is in that list. He's certainly not outside of the top 10 all-time guys. So here comes Sean Payton. He goes to Denver. He gets partnered up with Russell Wilson. Now let's take out of the mix that Russell Wilson was 33 years old when they got partnered up with each other. Russell Wilson, in the face of a poorly constructed roster, not Sean Payton's fault. He took over for Nathaniel Can't Hackett. That team was a dumpster fire inside of a slightly larger dumpster fire when Sean Payton got there. But Sean Payton gets there. It is a crap roster, decent wide receiver core. Offensive line just as bad as Carolina's. He gets to that spot. Russell Wilson had last year the 36th cleanest pocket in the National Football League to work out of, and yet statistically, which doesn't tell you everything, but it does tell you a lot. Statistically, Russell Wilson had a year that was just behind Patrick Mahomes statistically.
So if you're someone who imbibes and someone who enjoys the that kind of refreshment, I think we need to make a game out of every time Rob uses clean pocket in 2024. As an excuse, because it's just I mean, it's the same thing that you use for Bryce Young, as you mentioned, and I just, some people lose it, some people never had it, some people are able to scam the system because they're in a good system and fool people into thinking that they're better than they are, and Russell Wilson is that guy. He has fooled people into thinking that he's better than he is, and he's more trouble than he's worth. When you come in thinking I'm the guy, like you talked about him having his own office, his own everything, wherever he goes, if he should get picked up by someone, he's going to expect to do that again. If that's what you want, fine. get a mediocre or someone on the downside of mediocre quarterback and deal with all the other stuff you're going to have to deal with. And I think that's a problem for him.
I want to go back to what you started with.
What, drinking?
I do like a mimosa. I do love a mimosa.
Clean pocket.
Mimosas till noon is living your best life.
By the way, KC on the stream says I'd argue Peyton helped
that's
Breeze
fine.
become better, not the other way around.
It's absolutely a subjective argument. I don't agree. I think Drew Brees was always going to be great. I think if I'd have put Drew Brees in Andy Reid's offense, Drew Brees still would have been an all-timer, probably better. But again, that's a subjective argument. Now, to that,
that's a good point too.
and we'll come to that.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that today. The concept of the clean pocket. I don't know that there is anything in the 3-ish years that the Great One and I have been making award-winning radio together that frustrates me as much as you not understanding how important having time to throw the football is.
By the way, I do understand that, but I think you use it as an excuse for certain quarterbacks.
No.
Because that's what it seems to be.
Reason.
It quarterbacks that you and I are on opposite sides of, that's always your argument. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the clean pocket. Sometimes they're just not that good. I hope that's not the case with Bryce Young. I hope he gets better. But when it comes to Russell Wilson, I have always thought he was overrated. For a decade here on this radio station, or more, because I've lost count, I have never been a Russell Wilson fan.
Well, I understand that. The thought to me is a clean pocket for a quarterback is a tool for the job. We have talked about the difference between reasons and excuses. A reason that something happens is something that impacts whatever you're doing that is outside of your control. This is my definition. An excuse is when something that within your control happens and derails the mission. If I come in here one day and we do a show that is not award-winning radio, and the reason is because Rob Brown didn't show prep, he didn't watch any games last night, whatever the case might be, and then I go, oh, it was because of this. That's an excuse. It was within my control to do my stuff. If we come in here and we have one working mic between the two of us and half the buttons on the board are broken and we don't do a show, that's a reason.
This is the worst analogy that you've ever given, because even with all those limitations, we would still do award-winning radio.
Concept of the hypothetical aside, the point is it is a critical tool of the job. It's a critical tool of the job. And when you put a guy behind a pocket that gives him less time to throw than 4 backup quarterbacks, there are only 32 teams in the league, and Russell Wilson had the 36th amount of time in a clean pocket to throw. I don't care if you are Drew Brees. That is insane to have Lombardi expectations out of that guy. It's insane to ask that out of that guy. All I can ask for, he wants to feel the chill.
2 more times. 2 times. 2 more times.
All I can add, this is why I have said I genuinely, honestly believe if the Atlanta Falcons hit on a quarterback next year, they're going to win the division. Because right now, Atlanta and New Orleans are the 2 teams providing more time in the pocket than anybody else. The reason Baker was successful in Tampa is because Baker was playing on a Dave Canellis offense, playing with an offensive coordinator who understood, if I can't create a clean pocket, I've got to move the pocket. Sean Payton wasn't doing that with Denver last year.
All right. Everybody who's available quarterback-wise has been rumored to go to Atlanta. So are you willing to say that Russell Wilson would be the best fit and the best chance for Atlanta to do something?
No, that's Jaden Daniels. That's Jaden Daniels. But I will tell you on the list of
so a rookie who's a guy who hasn't even been drafted yet, who hasn't played in the NFL, is better than a guy who's won the Super Bowl.
That is how highly I think of Jaden Daniels.
Okay. All
not
right.
the other way around. That is how highly I think of the kid out of LSU. Of the guys that are available, I would put Russell Wilson ahead of Kirk Cousins. I would put Russell Wilson ahead of what other quarterbacks are available in free agency?
Chicago.
Justin Fields. The only difference is I got more longevity with Justin Fields. But if you're asking me for 1 year, to bring those guys to Atlanta, who I would bring to Atlanta to win the division this year, Russell Wilson.
All right. Out of all those guys, I think I would go with Kirk Cousins. For 1 year? For 1 year.
I can't do it.
For 1 year, that's who I would go with. If not, we know where my loyalty lies, and it's with Ohio State. But still, I would go with Kirk Cousins because he is the more accurate, I believe, of the three, and would probably fit the system better, and also wouldn't be a problem in the locker room. Like Russell Wilson would. Justin Fields is not a problem in the locker room.
I don't give a damn what college football helmet you wore when you get to the show. I don't care. So I have no biases in this one way or the other. Russell Wilson, of those three guys, of Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, if you ask me for one guy 1 year to win the NFC South in Atlanta next year, it's Russell Wilson.
By the way, I have no idea where Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins played college football because both of them have been in the league so long, it's been forever.
Kirk Cousins played college football at Michigan State University. Russell Wilson played football at 2. NC State was 1.
Wisconsin?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Maybe I did know.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1. That's enough Russell Wilson talk. I have had enough Russell Wilson talk.
By the way, Belarus, this song is called Two Will Mayhem. Nothing. Yeah. I mean,
you want to tag us again?
There you go.
Belarus. I'm not mad at Russia, Belarus. I expect that out of Russia. Okay. I expect that out of Russia. You, Belarus, I'm disappointed in you. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
When's time change? Is that next week?
Let's see.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough time for us.
Oh, because we're springing ahead. Oh, no. March 10th.
Yes, so it is.
Next week. Huzzah. Yeah, NC State and Wisconsin. That's it. Thank you. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
So I really have a problem with the 2 words of clean pocket because every time I said it or you said it, I heard Pappy laughing in my head. And it really was, I even hesitated a couple of times because it's like, get out of my head.
Pappy's the best.
He's a menace. All right, Belarus. The song we're coming back with is called Call Me Mud. Call Me Mud.
Natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged
Uh-oh.
tissue in your hips, shoulders.
Did
and
I knock the
knees.
ostrich
Providing
down?
lasting relief. Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100% feeling
It's because I'm wearing a flash shirt and I move so
great.
quickly.
Call
That's what
QC
it is.
Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics 864-448-3772.
Shooty hoops.
448-3772.
Love some shooty hoops.
448-3772. I lock up my Old Spice Fiji aluminum free dry. 24/7.
Do you want to go to the Carolina women's game on Friday? No worries if not, but I got to put in the request today.
It's more about, do I have clothes to wear?
Khakis.
Yeah, that'll be a no then. Some of them burnt those. I gotta find them so I can.
I am going to go. I am going to go Saturday. I'm going to play golf Sunday morning and then go after that. I'm kind of bummed because the lady friend is going to Gatlinburg Saturday night, which means I don't get to sit in the luxury box during the game on Sunday. But I may just get myself a press table. It's a courtside seat. I have to not sit in the luxury box, so I'm gonna have to sit courtside at the press table,
Yeah,
like a
that's,
plebe.
Yeah, and then pretend like you're not rooting.
I'm not rooting. I'm impartial at the game.
Well, I mean,
I'll be rooting after.
I was gonna say you could be rooting for a happy home. I mean, you know, you could be doing that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Let me think about it.
Okay.
I mean, I would like to go, but at the same time, clothing is a problem.
The Rob Brown Show carries on, wrapping up our numero uno here on the show. There's a couple more things out of the National Football League we're paying attention to. We know that Mike Evans has been re-signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fantastic move for Tampa Bay. The only move for Tampa Bay is to keep if they want to have any chance of running it back.
Who's their quarterback though?
Baker Mayfield,
Yeah, I
probably.
was gonna say he hasn't signed yet. Right?
They're not bringing him back. Unless Tampa is gonna pull that one draft day shocker, they're bringing back. And I don't know how you don't bring back Baker. My guy just had a career year. Now we just get to find out, was it Baker or was it Dave Canellis? If you're a Panther fan, you're really hoping it was Dave Canellis, and if you're a Tampa Bay fan, you're really hoping it was Baker Mayfield. But if you want any chance of Baker Mayfield running it back, having another year and getting you another divisional crown, you had to bring back Mike Evans. You had to do it. Because while Evans and Godwin as a tag team are the reason the wide receivers are so successful in Tampa, you got to have both members of a tag team for that tag team to work. And it does with those cats. That's the right move. Problem for Carolina is, that's one more name off of the potential free agency list at wide receiver. There ain't a market there, dudes. I think all of us were kind of leaning on the fact that there would be a wide receiver free agent market out there that Carolina could lean on a little bit. And the reality is there's just not. Here is who right now is free agented or might be. 31-and-a-half-year-old Odell Beckham Jr., Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd, MVS, Cedric Wilson, Kendrick Bourne, DJ Chark, Jamal Agnew, Paris Campbell, Mecole Hardman, Braxton Berrios, Jakeem Grant, Josh Reynolds, Randall Cobb, Marquise Hollywood Brown, and Calvin Ridley. The only two on this list that I'm like, that's your play. Go get Hollywood. Go get Calvin Ridley. Those are the two guys. Both of them under 30. Both of them, when they are healthy and playing, good wide receivers. Those are the two. Noah Brown, Matt Collins, T. Higgins. We know he got tagged. Michael Pittman Jr., going to get tagged. Ray McLeod, that's a special teams guy. Laviska Shenault. Again, if I can get one of the two guys I mentioned a minute ago, I would not be unwilling to bring Laviska Shenault back, but I want to be able to do what you should have been able to do last year, which is move him out of a 2 spot and into a 4 spot or a gadget spot where you can use him creatively. I don't want Laviska Shenault where I go run a 7, run a 3, run a 9. I want to be able to say, 1's doing this, 2 doing this. Laviska, get open. Be that dude. That's only going to happen if you get those other guys. Chase Claypool, Van Jefferson, Sterling Shepard. Like the free agent wide receiver market ain't good. It ain't good. The wide receiver draft class is exceptional, though, which is why I have said to me, if I am Carolina, I am going offensive line via free agency and wide receiver in the draft. I am going to find those guys because the free agency market for the wide receiver spot ain't there. And one of the big names just came off the board. We know that Brian Burns is likely getting tagged. By the way, franchise tag deadline in the NFL. The NFL tag deadline is coming up, I believe it's today, as a matter of fact. You have until 4 p.m. today to put down the tag. If Carolina did indeed break off, as it is rumored that they did, and I have no reason not to believe it, if they did indeed break off contract negotiations with Brian Burns, he's getting tagged today. Then the question mark becomes, are you keeping him around to play one more year on the tag, or is this a tag and trade situation? As I said earlier in the week, I don't think you can get pumped about getting a bunch back on the tag and trade. I don't think that's an option. You run into a big problem here. The big problem is, in order to have a tag and trade, you got to have a trade, which means you got to have somebody that can effectively agree to terms with Brian Burns. If Brian Burns was going to be agreeable to terms that easily, he would just be a Panther again. And you got to wonder, if he's playing under the tag this year, how does that all shape up and work out? We'll find out. But I think Brian Burns is getting tagged. We know T. Higgins has been tagged. L'Jarius Sneed got a conditional tag from the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. Christian Wilkins from Miami is not going to get tagged. He will be a free agent. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard. There is and this is something I want to talk about later in the show as well, Zoe. The list of running backs, marquee running backs that are going to be free agents because they're not catching a tag is all of them. All of them. Not a running back catching a tag. And there are marquee names. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard. There are marquee names out there not catching tags.
All right. Out of all the running backs in football, there's really only one that you would tag, and that's Christian McCaffrey.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he's free, isn't he?
He is, because Tennessee's dumb, I think is the word I'm going to use there. The Raiders are attempting to re-sign Josh Jacobs. The Giants are attempting to re-sign Saquon Barkley. The Cowboys are attempting to re-sign Tony Pollard. None of them want to use a tag on those guys, though, which says a lot about the position. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. Speaking of talking, Lonzo's going to do that now. He's going to talk through this Sports Flash.
Lonzo not talk well, but try. This week's AP basketball poll is out, with Houston maintaining their spot at number 1. UConn is at 2. Purdue is at 3. Tennessee and Arizona finish out the top 5, with North Carolina at 7, Duke at 9, Auburn and Kentucky at 13 and 15, and Alabama at 16, one spot ahead of number 17 South Carolina. The MLB free agency period is slowing down, but there are some big names still available, including two-time Cy Young winner Blake Snell and World Series champion Jordan Montgomery. Both are represented by agent Scott Boras. Tune in Saturday night at 8 p.m. as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Western Carolina in the first round of the Southern Conference tournament. It's a Southern Conference, not Southern Conference tournament. Right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball. That's us right here on The Fan Upstate. Words not work well. Southern. Down here in the Southern.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000.
Rob would know more than I, but it sounds like threat of violence. If someone tells me, hey, don't wear those colors, I think like gang stuff, but that's me.
To learn more, go to afsp.org/chapters. AFSP is an I'm Listening partner. Learn more at imlistening.org and on the Odyssey app.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather.
Nice, dude. You were instructed not to wear Chelsea. Who were you instructed not to wear Chelsea gear by? I mean, it's going to be smack talky. That's going to be a rivalry game for sure.
Still, worst case scenario, people get beat up and killed and stuff sometimes in places about soccer. So if you wear impartial colors, but you're still cheering a certain team, I mean, someone's seeing you do that, right? But it's probably more about entering and exiting the place than it would be actually inside, I'm guessing. Smith and James, the first break.
Or Jesse, pardon me. I might wear like something over a Chelsea shirt and then wear the Chelsea shirt. Just be prepared because the soccer smack is aggressive.
See, if the stadium is sending you that, they're worried about you.
Really?
They're worried about violence would be my guess.
Wait, are your tickets like outside of the Chelsea supporter section? Yeah.
Good morning.
Here we go into hour number 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown radio program is in your ear holes and your eyeballs. It is the Fan Upstate. My name is Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM, the guy in charge of this radio broadcast and every radio broadcast that you have ever loved, ever, anywhere, at any time. He is, of course, the great one, Lonzo, on the ones and twos today. Should you would like to be a part of said radio broadcast, there are plenty of most excellent ways for you to do exactly that. You may, of course, begin by shooting us a text on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. You may give us a buzz on the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663 is the phone number if you want to jump on board on the phone. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. That's me. At Lonzo on Word. That's the great one. And you can get everybody up in the station at The Fan Upstate on Twitter /X/ whatever you want to call it. Jump on board. The show is objectively better when you guys are a part of it. So hit us up. We have been all over the place today. We got some NFL talk earlier in the show. Russell Wilson is not going to be a Denver Bronco anymore. The team informed him yesterday that they plan on releasing him when the season new year begins on the 13th. He gone. 85. Well, this is an item on the water cooler sheet. We should just jump into that thing that we do at this time every day. You know, that thing that because you're an hour away from work, that thing where we tell you all the sports stuff that you need to know so that you can go to work and take that break and go talk sports with your coworkers. You know that thing, the water cooler cheat sheet? Let's do that. You're fired! It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers. Let us go ahead and dive right in with item number 1. Very busy day if you are an NFL fan today. A lot going on. First off, today is trade deadline day. Excuse me, scratch that, tag deadline day. If your team is going to utilize the franchise tag, they must do it by 4 p.m. today. At 4 p.m., we will see who gets tagged. Not a lot of teams opting, at least not so far, not a lot of teams opting to use the tag right now. Carolina will apparently be one of those teams, as it appears that later on today, Brian Burns will be one of the first players in the NFL to catch a tag. Burns expected to be tagged by the Cats. There is not word yet on what the objective for Carolina will be after that. Is it going to be a tag and trade move? Is it going to be, hey, dude, sorry about your luck, but you just are a Panther now? We don't yet know, though it is going to be interesting to watch this play out. You got to have a dance partner, obviously. If you are going to do a tag and trade, you got to have somebody willing to jump on board and make the move with you. There is the thought that Carolina has likely been shopping Brian Burns around. But again, dude wants $30 million a year and had a down season this year. So there is the question mark about whether or not that is a realistic ask, and if there is anybody else that is going to be willing to pull the trigger on that. As far as the tags go, we know a couple of guys that are getting tagged. We read you those in the last segment. We know that as of right now, none of the premier running backs are being tagged. That is interesting as a Panther fan because you might need to bump up the running back locker room this season. Miles Sanders never reached the heights that you paid him to reach. You got some other guys in there like Chuba Hubbard, who I think you can lean on, but there's not that, as of right now, premier guy in the locker room. So you got to wonder if Carolina might be willing to make a move on any of these guys. We're going to find out later on today. Russell Wilson, as we mentioned just mere minutes ago, was told yesterday, was informed by the Denver Broncos that when the new season begins, he will no longer be on that football team. They said he is going to be out. No ifs, ands, or buts. Russell Wilson is G-O-N-E gone. That is, of course, very interesting, in part because that means that the Denver Broncos are going to be eating $85 million in dead cap space. Yes, noted Kansas City Chiefs fan, the great one Lonzo, very excited about that. $85 million. Do you know how much you got to dislike somebody to put yourself in an $85 million hole to not have them around anymore?
So you've never worked with or had someone in your life that you'd be willing to pay that much to get rid of? I mean, not get rid of, but have them, move somewhere.
Dude, in a day, on the spur, in a day, I rented a U-Haul, packed everything I owned out of an apartment, and left Jacksonville with not a damn clue where I was going to get away from someone. Yeah, no, I get it. I spent every dime I had and had to borrow some from family members to get the hell away from somebody. I absolutely understand. What I'm saying here is I'm not an NFL franchise that has tens of thousands of people rooting for me. I had like 7. And I felt like a disappointment to them at that point in my life. So, good luck, Denver. Hey, let's stick with the National Football League for just a minute. We talked quarterbacks earlier in the show. The great one saideth unto me, Rob Brown, if you had to pick a guy right now to go to the ATL and represent the Dirty Birds next year, would you go Justin Fields? Would you go Kirk Cousins? Would you go Russell Wilson? Is it definitely got to draft somebody kind of spot? And my response to the great one was, I think I would more than likely end up going with Russell Wilson. I just think that's the move. This now becomes very interesting because yesterday it was made known that Kirk Cousins is in the midst of a decision-making process. Now, we don't know why. We're not entirely sure why he might be doing this, but apparently, great one, Kirk Cousins is considering moving his family to Atlanta. Apparently, he has been talking to some friends, talking to some colleagues that have said, hey, yo, Kirk, Atlanta's a wonderful place to live. And Kirk's like, yeah, no, I'm thinking about it. The possibility of Kirk Cousins ending up in the ATL is now on the table.
Maybe he has aspirations of an acting career, and a lot of things are filmed in Atlanta. So maybe that's what it is. It has nothing to do with football. Maybe it's just, and it is, warmer in Atlanta than it is in Minnesota. Maybe that's it. Maybe it has nothing to do with football. It probably does. It probably does. I've never been to Minnesota. I'm sure it's objectively lovely there. But if you ask me if I wanted to live in Minneapolis or the ATL, I'm going the dirty every time. So Kirk Cousins is apparently at the very least considering moving his family to Atlanta. Of course, Atlanta right now looking for a QB, trying to figure out who QB of the future is going to be. And all of a sudden, Kirk Cousins is very much on the table as a possibility. We'll keep an eye on that situation for you. Let us go to item number 2. Your AP poll for the college basketball landscape on both the men's and women's side is out. Let's play the Rob Brown Show Home Edition. Lonzo, would you like to wager a guess at who checked in number 1 in the women's poll? I'm going to go Rob Brown with the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Wait, I got a thing for this. There it is.
Do you have to hit it like?
Now.
Do you have to hit it like that to make
Yeah,
a?
you gotta lean into it.
Is that what you have to do?
Of course it is. The 29. Oh, I got one of those too.
Hold on. Hit that again.
Take that, Belarus. The 29-0 undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks check in at number 1 in your AP poll, the final AP poll of the women's regular season. As coming up this weekend, it is conference tournament time, including the Southeastern Conference tournament taking place, ladies and gentlemen, right here in Greenville, South Carolina. The Gamecocks will, I know, what an absolute shocker, end up as the number 1 overall seed when it does kick off. Stanford checks in at number 2, Iowa 3 behind Caitlin Clark, Ohio State 4, who Caitlin Clark just knocked off this past week. USC 5, Texas 6, UCLA 7, the LSU Fighting Tigers have seen themselves fall all the way down the list to number 8 in your women's poll. UConn 9, NC State is 10. So the Lady Gamecocks are going to find themselves in a familiar yet comfortable position coming up this weekend when they enter the SEC Women's Tournament as the number 1 overall seed. Over on the men's side, not a shock. The Houston Cougars retain their spot atop the NCAA's list on the men's side. Of course, the Cougs were in a very interesting spot because they handed out the very first L in a 2-month win streak to UConn about a week ago, and they have not taken an L since. Houston got 52 of the available first place votes. UConn got 6 of them. They check in at number 2. Purdue behind Zach Edey got 4 of them. They are number 3. Tennessee 4, Arizona 5, Iowa State 6, North Carolina at 7, Marquette 9, Marquette 8, Duke 9, and the Blue Jays of Creighton are at 10. Further down the list in the SEC, the Auburn War Eagle Tigers at 13. At 15, the University of Kentucky, 16, Alabama, 17, South Carolina. And that is where the Gamecocks find themselves with the men's conference tournaments just a tick over a week ago, a couple of games remaining for all of those teams before we do get to those conference tournaments. So there's your men's and women's AP poll. On the men's side, South Carolina 17. On the women's side, exactly and precisely, zero shock, they are the number 1 team in the country.
I noticed you didn't mention that other team that's around here. Their rankings, are they ranked or anything?
They are not ranked.
Oh, okay. I just
unranked.
wanted to give equal treatment to both. You know, that's all. Okay.
Item number 3. Let's take a look at baseball, shall we? Mainly and only because I know that Lonzo's such a huge fan, and I know so many of you are paying attention to this, as you should be.
Does this count in the 10%?
I'm going to say no. This is news, right?
Okay.
I'm going to say this is. I'm going to say this is news, and I'm going to say honestly, I'm going to say it's relatively important news if we're being, as the kids say, if we are keeping it 100. I don't think that's how they say it, but you get it.
Because you don't want to be brand new.
I do not want to be brand new. So, Scott Boras is arguably the most well-known agent in Major League Baseball circles. Scott Boras represents a lot of big-name clients. Scott Boras represents a couple of pitchers that are highly sought after, actually still highly sought after. Blake Snell is a two-time Cy Young Award winner. Blake Snell is currently not on a Major League Baseball team. He represents Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery is a World Series champion from last year with the Texas Rangers, now a free agent. He is not currently on a Major League Baseball roster. Why not? Well, there's a lot of blame to go around, but Scott Boras is believed to be a big part of the reason why. Scott Boras represented Cody Bellinger, amongst many others who have been signed so far. Scott Boras has a very, to me, strategic way of getting his biggest name signed. Scott Boras' strategy is he's either going to get you a long-term contract or he's going to get you a less lucrative short-term contract, but he is going to get it with player options, which, of course, gives you the opportunity, should you elect to run with it, to play a year or two, make a bunch of money, bet on yourself, as the old expression goes, get real good, and then get paid down the line. Scott Boras is working on doing that right now with these two pitchers. He did it with Cody Bellinger, as we mentioned earlier just a moment ago in the segment. Cody Bellinger ended up on a 3-year deal with the Chicago Cubs. That 3-year deal includes a player option after year 1 and after year 2. It has created a situation where Cody Bellinger can effectively go to Chicago, ball out, make some money. He plays exceptionally well. Cody Bellinger then can, of course, tell the Chicago Cubs next year, no, I'm good, I'm out, and go get that fat contract somewhere else. Scott Boras has decided, since the free agency market in Major League Baseball has died down a little bit, let's pour a little gasoline on it, shall we? He said that right now, quote, there is a pitching panic going on in baseball. We've got so many starting pitchers that now are compromised, maybe short-term, some long-term, and the calls for elite starters are starting to increase with many clubs right now because of the pitching issue. The competitiveness of their seasons is at risk. Now, there are some teams like the LA Dodgers that are having to deal with that. The Dodgers have a injured list of pitchers that is better than most teams' starting rotation. Are they screwed? No, because they're going to score like 1 billion runs this year, much like the Atlanta Braves are going to do the same. Is there a pitching crisis? No, but here's the thing. This is why this is interesting to me. Because Scott Boras is absolutely a cat that has the power to shift the baseball markets just by saying words. And that's what he did here. Keep an eye on baseball free agency, because I have a strong, sneaky suspicion that it's about to start making some noise, and doing so in the next couple of days. There's your water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers. Let us run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, we have got a lot more in the world of sports we need to get to. We got some NASCAR we got to get to. We got some more NFL we got to get to. Could we see a change in kickoffs? We already know that. Could we see the NFL tinker with onside kicks? We will address that coming up later on in the show. I said something yesterday that I kind of had to breeze by about Shane Beamer. I'd like to come back to that today, and we will when we come back on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
Which one?
Smith.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you because I'm deaf. Be right back. Stay right there. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Welcome into the noobs.
Since Belarus,
Belarus. Damn you, Belarus.
keeps messing with us, I tried to look up famous people from Belarus. I think the most famous person I found was Olga Korbut, who was a gymnast back in the day. I mean, back in the 80s. You mean that guy over there? That guy? With the sweet jacket?
This
That
is a
guy?
sweet jacket. I like this jacket a lot. I'm team bomber jacket now, you guys.
Just in time for hot weather. Rob's going with jackets.
I want to be mad, but that's an excellent point.
Oh, the temperature in here during the summer is more like winter. So, I mean,
The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate. I talked about this very briefly yesterday. I would like to, for just a moment, get back to it here because we had John Blau on from the Post and Courier to talk Clemson athletics yesterday. I did not get to spend quite as much time on this as I would have liked to. So I'm going to now because I can and want to. You talk to most folks, and most folks are going to tell you that coaches should rise above it. They should not be petty. They should not be talking about their exes. Coaches should be above that. They should be better than that. Hot take time, kids. I love when a coach gets petty. And I love when a coach gets petty because it shows me that that coach is ready to fight. It shows me that that coach is ready to put it all out there. It shows me that that coach doesn't give a good gosh darn about the public image. They care about winning. And I like that. That's exactly what I want. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. Give me more of it. Let us, friends, talk very briefly about one Shane Beamer. That would be friend of the show, Shane Beamer. A gentleman who has been accused during his time at South Carolina of maybe not exactly being the smoothest talker in the game when it comes to dealing with folks outside of the program. It is no secret that Shane had a dust up with our afternoon colleague, Mark Ryan. He had another one this past week with another longtime South Carolina media member. It is no secret that Shane sometimes allows his emotions to get out onto the mic. And I want you to know that I am here for it. Now, I am going to, as I have already been accused of, I am going to be further accused of being a fan, of being a homer, and I will say again, as I have said oh so many countless times on this show, I am not a fan of any team that we cover. I'm a fan of success because it makes me money. I want all of our teams that we cover to go undefeated every year. I want our local high schools to go undefeated. Congrats to Riverside, by the way. I want Furman and Wofford and SC Upstate to all go undefeated at every sport. I want Clemson and South Carolina to go undefeated at every sport. I want the Carolina Panthers and Hurricanes to go undefeated. I want them all to go undefeated because the better they are, the more the fans care. The more the fans care, the more people who pay me to talk about sports pay me to talk about sports. That being said, I say this unapologetically as just Rob Brown, fan of sports. Rob Brown, sports guy. Shane Beamer, obviously, was upset about the departure of James Coley, the wide receivers coach, that he hired back in January. James Coley was in town for about a month and a half, and then he decided, yep, I'm out. Later, peace, deuces, see ya, and headed back to the University of Georgia, where he coached a number of years ago. He stopped at Texas A&M under Jimbo Fisher. In the meantime, with the departure of Jimbo Fisher ever so unceremoniously, former Duke coach Mike Elko came down. There was no room for James Coley. He was out. He ends up in Columbia. He stays there for just enough time to get fitted for his polo shirts and visors before he decides to pull the plug on that and head to the University of Georgia. And there was a lot of discussion about that on, well, this show and frankly, every show that covers South Carolina football. And the emotions ranged from guys like me who say, I get it. It's a job. At the end of the day, it's a job. And I think most of us, should we get an opportunity to go to a company with a proven track record and also one that's going to pay us more, are going to take that opportunity. And it may even sting a little bit. It may hurt to look a manager you like in the eye and go, I have enjoyed our time together, but depart I must, for this opportunity may not present itself again, and take off. I don't fault James Coley at all, but many of you do. Many of you were very upset at the guy for taking a better opportunity. And yes, Shane Beamer was in this case one of you. During his introductory press conference for the new guy, Shane said this about the old guy. So, if you think about what Shane Beamer said right there for more than 7 seconds, none of it makes sense, right? Outside of, we collected $450,000 worth of buyout and we utilized it to hire another coach. Outside of that, none of it made sense. You're not going to sit here and tell me, with all due respect to the new guy, you're not going to tell me that he's a better coach, that he's a better recruiter. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm saying as of right now, you can't tell me that he is. There is a reason that James Coley was such a coup of a hire for Shane Beamer. There is a reason that James Coley is a guy that Kirby Smart, right now considered by many to be the best active coach in college football, stepped in and hired him away from South Carolina. Again, I'm not saying that the new guy isn't going to end up being in that same conversation. I'm just saying right now he's not. I appreciate what Shane is doing. It's the company line. It's the spin. This ain't O'Reilly. This ain't the no spin zone. Of course, you are going to paint every situation in the brightest shade of garnet that you can do so if you are Shane Beamer. You're the coach of the team. Of course, that's what you're going to do. Still, all the things he said don't make sense. That being said, I love the aggression. I love him saying these things. I love him acting as if the $450K that they got for a contract buyout was more important to the program than the coach would have been, which is what he did here. Shane grabbed the mic and effectively said the $450,000 that we got for him leaving was more valuable to the program than him. Now, that probably isn't true, but I don't care. That's what you say if you're in this spot. And I got on the social media after this comment went out. And what did I see? Oh, Shane, you got to stop. Oh, Shane, you got to quit. Oh, Shane, this, yeah, the petty, you got to rise above it. You got to take the high road. No. Take this road. Be aggressive. Here's the spot that you're in. If you are Shane Beamer, Lonzo, is it fair to say that if the South Carolina Gamecocks are bad this year, and I'll let you define what bad is, but I'm not talking close to what they were last year. I'm talking if they are bad this year, then the folks who are calling for Shane Beamer to be listed amongst the hot seat coaches will be vindicated and justified. Fair?
Definitely fair.
Definitely fair. So, if you're Shane Beamer and you know a bad season puts you on the hot seat, do you know what you are? You're on the hot seat. Maybe it's a lukewarm seat. Maybe it's a seat like you sat down on and you realize somebody else just got up from this seat.
I don't know, as a college football coach, if you ever are not feeling a little bit of heat. I mean, I think it goes with the territory.
Yeah, like
doesn't it?
unless you're, Kirby or Nick or Herb or Ryan Day, you're not feeling any heat, right, Lonzo?
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Lonzo? Right,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no heat at all.
If you know that with a bad year this year, you're on the hot seat next year, you're on the hot seat this year. I am happy to say right now, Shane Beamer's on the hot seat. Does that mean fired at the end of this year? No. Unless they go like 2-10, then no. But after 2025, yes. So your back is against the wall right now. Your back is against the wall. You're at a point now where I'm going to say this respectfully, and I do not mean for it to be taken any kind of way, but it is what it is. You are in a spot now where no one outside of your program believes in you. And unfortunately, a significant amount of people, I'm not going to say majority, I'm not even going to say close to majority, but a large enough contingent to be discussed within your program don't believe in you. Like a texter who just wrote in a moment ago and said, Rob and Carolina fans still believe Beamers, and that's coming from a Gamecock fan. You were at a point, if you were Shane Beamer, where no one outside of the program believes in you, and a large enough to justify conversation contingent within your program doesn't. And if that is if that's the case, the only option you have left is to come out swinging. This is a spot where I have got to say the approach needs to be no more Mr. Nice Guy. Hoo, hoo, hoo. You've got to come out swinging. Forget the high road or the low road or the middle road or whatever road. You just got to go. I think this year you need to see, frankly, and again, it's very rare I suggest this, but I think this year Shane Beamer needs to be unhinged. I mean, you have got to go full. All the stuff we've seen, the sunglasses and the locker room dancing and the skits on Twitter, again, that's all been great. I have been a fan since he arrived. I didn't like the hire when it was made. It concerned me. But when he showed up and everybody bought in and your first year went, I think, probably a little bit better than expectations, I got brought on board because I thought building the culture was important. Now, I have thus been informed many times by the great one that the culture has always been good. And maybe, and I've been told this by a couple of fans, maybe culture building at South Carolina isn't really as much of an accomplishment as you, Rob Brown, an outsider, might be led to believe that it is. I will tell you, somebody's been around college football for a very long time. It is, okay? Because even if there's a good culture, to unify that culture is importante. And I thought he did that. But I look at this situation now and I think to myself, my dude's on the hot seat. My dude knows he's on the hot seat. I don't care what he says with respect to Shane-O. I think he knows he's on the hot seat. And if that is the case, forget the high road, forget the low road. You have just got to be wildly, entirely uber aggressive this year. It is not an option. And so to pick up the metaphorical cannon and blast a shot at the guy who showed up, stayed for 4 weeks, and then took off again, I'm good with it. Now, the unfortunate part is that he ended up at Georgia. The unfortunate part is you're going to play Georgia. And the unfortunate part is your boy James Coley, before you play Georgia, is going to line up his fellas in the locker room and go, hey, that guy over there said I'm garbage. He said I'm trash. He said I'm not worth $500,000. He said that $450K is more important to a program than me. Go out there and show him that that he's wrong. But here's the thing: it's Georgia. You were already going to be a 3-touchdown underdog to this team. I need this team to get that us against the world mentality, to get we're the underdog in every situation mentality, and this kind of stuff is how you trigger
You just gave the example, so that's going to be going on in that locker room. The same thing's going to be going in South Carolina's locker room. Hey, that guy over there says you're not good enough. He decided to leave after being here for just a little bit. Are you going to allow that? Do you have pride in your school? Are you going to allow that guy over there and his receivers to outplay you? I mean, that's you're talking to your defense if you're Shane Beamer and saying the same exact thing that you're saying that Coley is saying to his receivers.
I think that first off, that is absolutely a good point. The difference is one's Georgia and one's South Carolina.
And if you have that mentality, it's always going to be that way. If you're in that South Carolina locker room, you're not going, yeah, coach, but it's Georgia. No, you're riled up going, yeah, we're going to shut them down, coach.
It's again, I agree with all that. Yes, I need my team to have the mindset of we can play with anybody any Saturday. We can beat anybody any Saturday. The reality of the situation is that's Georgia. But putting that aside and just looking at what it is, give me petty Shane Beamer. Give me aggressive Shane Beamer. Give me angry Shane Beamer. Give me the Shane Beamer that calls out media members for being jerks. Give me the Shane Beamer that calls out folks for lying about the program. Give me the Shane Beamer that talks just a relentless amount about other coaches. Give me that, because the fun-loving, happy-go-lucky, everything's great, let's dance in the locker room Shane Beamer, that Shane Beamer, as much as Lonzo and I love that Shane Beamer ain't going to work this year. That Shane Beamer has got to be a different Shane Beamer this year. We can go back to that. Go out there and elevate this program. Go out there and elevate this program to being a 8-4 and then 9-3 and then 10-2 program. Get out there and do that, and then we can revert back to having fun. But for now, this petty stuff, I want more. This is what I want. That bleep you, Shane Beamer. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
believe that Trey is right.
I believe Trey is right. I still had the SEC East in my head, and that's not a thing anymore. Gotta beat Darby Allin's dog.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so like, whoa.
All right, guys. I'm going to be right back. Step away for 45 seconds. Stay right
about Russell Wilson and on my side than there are on yours. And they post videos, and the videos are great.
Offering professional grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Band.
97.7 FM Green.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back. Robin Lonzo with you on a wonderful Upstate Tuesday AM. We talked about Sugar Shane Beamer in the last segment. And there is...
Don't do that, because now I'm seeing him with multicolored hair. And I just now I can't get that out of my head.
Texas says Georgia and South Carolina not scheduled. Yeah, I know. Listen, it's going to take... You remember when the Chargers moved from San Diego to Los Angeles? How many times did you still call them the San Diego Chargers after that?
You act like that stopped.
Yeah, exactly. It is going to take a little while, my dudes and dudettes. It is going to take a little while to get out of the SEC East mentality. It's just going to take a little while. It's going to take a little while before South Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, whatever the and by the way, to memorize the protected rivalries. I'm sorry. I'm a college football guy. I also have a terrible memory. Ask my fiance. She will tell you.
Coming to the now, Rob Brown. You're still stuck in what college football used to be.
I'm stuck back in the glory days of 2023. Forever ago. Get off my lawn.
That was 3 months ago. I mean, this year is scooting.
I know. I think that, and this is interesting because the the callers have at this point gotten to a spot. The texters at this point has gotten to a spot where the folks that don't believe in Shane Beamer are louder than the ones that do. Have you noticed that, or is that just me? Because it feels like to me, and again, maybe it's a squeaky wheel gets the grease situation.
It's also going to depend on time of day too, because some people have been conditioned to say these things. I want to wait and see what they do on the field. And again, if the record improves this year, I'm good. If it doesn't, he needs to be gone.
I mean, I do too, but the reality is we get paid to talk about it. So the thought here for me is, as I watch, reading the text, reading the tweets, taking your calls on the Renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone at 844-326-3663. The folks that are the folks that have either lost or never had belief in Shane have gotten louder than the folks that do.
Here's what it is. I think as you get further and further away from Muschamp, that feeling of elation that was felt throughout the state of South Carolina when Muschamp was no longer the coach, and you're just happy to have anybody. It's a horrible way to feel, but you're just, after that, you're so happy to have anybody who's actually looks like they're happy to be there in Shane Beamer and made some improvements, and people actually on the field cared and didn't go, hey, look, he got the ball. And just watch them as they run by. They put some effort into it. Now it's getting far enough away from that you expect things to improve. I don't know, 1 or 2 games per season till you're a contender in the East.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist anymore. So just a contender, right? Does the East still exist?
Nope.
Okay. So it's just, you want to be one of the top
now.
2 teams. Yes.
So I think that word expectations carries a lot of weight right here, because that's what this comes down to, is expectations. I think they were, frankly, respectfully, not that high when Shane showed up. I think it felt like, and I called it this at the time, it was an experimental hire. It was a hire that no one knew if it was going to work or not. It was a hire that was made just to test it out and see what happened. And I don't have a problem with that. When you're a mid-program, that's what you have to do. You go back and look at any of the mid-programs that eventually reached the next level, and they came with experimental hires. This is why the discussion was, for many years, around, for instance, Bobby Bowden. When he got to Florida State was a nobody when he got there. And Bobby adopted this mentality of anybody, anywhere, any Saturday. And then the next thing you know, he elevated them to the next level. South Carolina is, and I say this respectfully, an average program. It's an average program. So how do you go from average to above average? I don't know. But the expectations to do that are there. And I think last year, because nuance is important in a conversation, with the injuries, with the behind-the-scenes drama, of which there was at least a little bit, there were a lot of reasons, not excuses, that didn't happen. But at some point, I need the guy, whoever the guy is at the whatever school we're talking about, to figure out, how do we cut those out? How do we cut the reasons and the excuses out? And when we do have a reason, how do we address that in a way that we come out better on the other side? And I think that's the spot that we are in now with Shane Beamer. But in order to make that happen, I need a guy who is going to bring the hammer down. That's kind of where you're at. Because one of the things that, unfortunately, true or not, fair or unfair, one of the images that come along with coach who puts on the fun glasses and dances in the locker room is, it's not a disciplined program. That's not necessarily true, but that is the projected image. And so when on one hand, You project this image of expectation. We expect that this team, this franchise, this school is going to get better year by year. The results are going to show that we are getting better year by year. And then on the other hand, the projected image is kind of a loosey-goosey locker room that's just out there to have a real good time. Those two messages contradict each other. And unfortunately, your fan base gets split between the two. This is why I am down for angry Shane. This is why I'm down for petty Shane. This is why I'm down for the Shane that's going to grab the mic and go, hey, yo, James Coley. The $450,000 buyout's better for my team than he ever would have been. The new guy is better than him. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that guy to step in to show that he is ready to kick somebody's ass and then to do it. And this is the attitude of that guy. Now, maybe it's an image. Maybe it's a front. Maybe it's a facade. I don't know. I need that.
I mean, maybe he's having this attitude because he knows what he's got on the field this year. Maybe he knows who that quarterback's going to be. Maybe he knows that things are going to be improved. Or maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
I don't know. Again, speculation, projection. That's what we do.
Will
jobs.
spring football help any at all as far as expectations go?
It depends on what we see. Depends on if we see Lenora Sellers come out there tossing 50-yard bombs and hitting guys in stride, and if we see that, he found some receivers during the offseason, then yeah. But if you come out and the passing offense looks like crap, and they can't throw the ball against their own team, then no, I think it gets worse before it gets better. Spring football just days away. Robin Lonzo with you. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Sports Flash.
All right, we knew this day was coming. Eagles center Jason Kelce made his retirement official yesterday, stepping away after a career that includes 6 postseason appearances and 2 Super Bowl trips. Kelce spoke for 45 minutes, saying, "Stepping on the field was the most alive and free I had ever felt." The 2011 6th-round selection played 13 years in Philadelphia and went to the Pro Bowl 7 times. So won a Super Bowl. Absolutely did. Last week, the offer to college football players went out to be included in the new NCAA football game with a payment of $600 and a copy of the game. EA Sports announced yesterday that so far over 10,000 players have opted in. Travis Hunter, Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck, Jalen Milroe, and Dylan Gabriel are amongst those that have opted in. Arch Manning has opted out, by the way. Tune in Saturday night at 8 p.m. as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Western Carolina in the first round of the Southern Conference tournament right here on the Fan Upstate. Come on. Come on, computer.
Washington's first request as president was for a letter to be crafted and sent to Congress telling them that he was excited to work alongside them. Washington knew his friend James Madison was much better with words than penmanship, so Madison wrote the initial letter. Congress received said letter graciously and wished to answer the president. Members of Congress also knew that James Madison was an excellent wordsmith, so they too asked him to pen the letter for them. But wait, there's more. Washington had Madison respond to Congress's returning letter, and one final time, Congress again had Madison write yet another letter for them back to Washington. So James
Upset
Madison can say his first
about the department.
as member of the Washington administration was having an entire 4-letter conversation with himself. This has been a bite out of history with Nichols Martin. This is the time of year to enjoy life. Stop letting that pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want to
If
do.
you think about
Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking about lasting joint pain relief. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime.
Yes, Zach, I do think they are going to accept said challenge. I'm real intrigued to see what that looks like.
Well, they also announced yesterday it's going to be a double main event on Sunday night. So Seth is going to go up against Drew on Sunday night and Cody against Roman on Sunday night. So they're not going to split it up and have one belt on one night and one on the other. So that also gives both of them time to rest, and Roman time to rest because he needs it more than anybody since he's a part-timer. Plus, it's going to be it would be really hard for them to put The Rock in a match, a singles match, when he hasn't wrestled in like a decade, and him still look good. You can cover some of that in big time in a tag match. Wait a minute, they don't turn the milk green, Odie? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, never mind. I'm a little slow. Okay. So After Effects are also green. That's just nasty, man. What the heck's a finger joint board? Do you know what a finger joint board is?
But I'm about to.
I've never heard of a finger joint.
Finger joint board. It just gives me a bunch of ads for finger joint boards. What is a finger joint board? Prime finger joint, also known as a comb joint, is a woodworking joint made by cutting a set of complementary interlocking profiles in two pieces of wood, which are then glued together. So, like, when you cut this into one and this into the other.
No, I got what it was. It's weird that I got what it was, but I completely understood it from the description.
Learn something new every day.
You need some of them finger joint boards to take care of that right there. Yeah. Is that where you put your own face in the game, Trey? Or what is that? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you upload a picture and then
back in the day that didn't work too well, but now I bet with today's technology.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good. It is hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Radio program right here on the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the Great Lonzo on the ones and twos this AM. 844-326-3663. That is the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. 844-326-3663. Text us on our text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at The Fan Upstate. If you want to go at us in that direction, you can also email me if you got something more long format, but you don't want to come on the air. Rob.Brown at thefanupstate.com. Rob.Brown at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways for you to get in touch with the radio broadcast. We told you last week that EA Sports, it's in the game as we all prepare for what is going to be unquestionably the highlight of 2024. Without a doubt, hands down, not a thought needed nor had, the release of EA Sports College Football 2024.
Not a day one purchase for me.
Day one, I'll be at GameStop at 11 the night before to pick it up at midnight.
You don't have to do that anymore. You can probably pre-order right now. I
don't pre-order games.
Okay.
I'm staunchly anti-pre-order.
Yeah, but if you pre-order, you might get some goodies with it. Like maybe a specialized jersey or something. I don't know.
Okay, if I can do that, I'll pre-order.
Yeah, I'm worried about glitches in this game, so I think I would wait a little while.
I'm not because I think that this game has been so highly anticipated for so long. By the way, I matter of fact, I was playing Grand Theft Auto last night because I'm an adult. Shut up. And a buddy of mine.
There are probably more adults playing video games than there are not.
Hence the thunder that I was about to bring. We were having this conversation last night because I pointed out that yesterday, 2 announcements came about the game. Number one was that Arch Manning is one of the players that is elected not to accept the NIL deal to be in this game. You will not be able to play as Arch Manning in college football 2024. You will be able to play, however, as Quinn Ewers, a guy that has played college football so far.
By the way, I have a theory on that. Also, according to a survey conducted in 2022, 70% of adults in America play video games. So that was in 2022. I think Arch Manning is opting out because he's not going to be with that team.
Strong possibility. Although, listen, one of the things that I'm really excited about is that, what's in this game? The transfer portal.
Do they really have the transfer portal in there?
Not only do they have the transfer portal in it.
Is NIL in there?
Sure is.
Wow.
Sure. It's college football.
Wow. So this is suddenly like a business management course.
It kind of is, right? So Arch Manning decides he is out. Quinn Ewers, along with Jalen Milroe and a handful of others, have all decided that they are in. Over 10,000 college football players nationally have opted in to be in this game. If you can think of a player that's not Arch Manning, you're probably going to have the opportunity to play as that guy or against them in this game when it rolls out this summertime. Very excited about it. We were having the conversation last night, me and a buddy of mine, while we played some GTA. And I said, what's real interesting for me is that there's always been conversations about games like college football, or as it used to be called, NCAA 2020, whatever. There always were these conversations, but it was always kind of like in niche broadcast outlets. You had guys doing, podcast or whatever they were called before podcast. Every now and then you'd have on ESPN, they'd be like, oh, we simulated Madden games, but that was pretty much the extent. And now there's not really a radio or television show you can tune into that's not hyping this game, not talking about how great it is to have another college football game available on the console, on the PC. And I came to the realization last night, it is because the first truly video game generation, I'm talking about the first group of kids that had consoles as a part of their childhood. I'm not talking about those of you that were playing Pong. I'm not talking about those of you that had the initial Ataris.
All right. Stop looking at me while you're saying all this. Because yes, I had the original Pong and the Atari 2600, my favorite Christmas gift of all time. Yes.
That generation did a wonderful thing by inventing, creating, developing, advancing video games. But I think my generation was the first generation that consoles were wildly accessible. You didn't know a kid my age when you got to the point where you were like allowed to go to other people's houses, go hang out at your buddy's house. You didn't know a kid that didn't have a video game console in their house. You just didn't. Everybody had one.
So initial sales of this game should be pretty strong because of the nostalgia. I am curious about kids who have grown up without the game who will look at it and go, yeah, that's just Madden Light. and will stick with Madden and not buy the game. So I don't know how many weeks into game sales it will take before we see a drop off, but I'm curious about that because there are children out there never played it before and may actually think, yeah, it's Madden Light. I'll just stick with the NFL.
You and I have a shared love of video games, but it comes from very different places, right? Lonzo and I both love video games. The Fortress of Nerditude has multiple video game references around it. I've got a Super Mario 3D framed picture that hangs up. Lonzo's got countless video game references on the wall.
Oh, there's like the first Xbox game console in there. We got a PS2 in there. We got an Xbox One in there. I mean, so it isn't like,
it's a video game.
There are games in there. Yes.
So we come from, we both love video games, but we I think come from different places. I grew up on, once the Super Mario Bros era came to its end, once Sega and Sonic the Hedgehog, once that generation came to its end, once they started cranking out with consistency sports games, the overwhelming majority of the Rob Brown video game background is sports games. It's NFL Blitz. It's Tecmo Bowl. It's all of the
Tecmo Bowl is
classics.
awesome. Let me hazard a guess here that you had friends.
I did have friends.
A ton of friends. I have one friend who played sports games with me. And at one point he picked up his console and threw it against the wall, and a piece of plastic like cut my.
I'm at this point convinced that in order to prove yourself an Ohioan, you have to throw things.
It might be.
Every story Lonzo's ever told me about his growth in Ohio
ends
with, and then he threw it.
What I'm saying is people take these games a little too seriously, as my friend did. And so eventually you go, okay, if I play this with someone, they're just going to want to fight. And maybe I don't want to do that anymore. Let me just go off into a world where I'm just killing goblins and demons and things by myself. So I don't have to deal with my buddy who I was so tight with wanting to kill me now because I threw 4 touchdowns on him.
Do you want to play or do you want to win? So here's the thought.
Well, sometimes you can't win because the other person is always going to be better than you.
Get better. Get
can
good.
you? Maybe you can't.
Get good.
Maybe you can't.
That's on you, dog. Ain't my job to take it easy on you. I'm right there. Who was the guy? There was a football player, Cardell Jones. Was one of my, this story's so bad, but I genuinely love it so much. Cardell Jones, when he was with the Buckeyes, remember him? He ain't come to play school.
Yeah, I recall him. Yes.
Cardell Jones went to a hospital in Columbus, and there was a kid there. There was a kid there that, he kind of had his kind of make-a-wish scenario, and he wanted to play NCAA football with the starting quarterback of the Ohio State Buckeyes. So Cardell Jones went to go play football with his kid, and after he did, a story came out that Cardell Jones beat this hospitalized kid 91-35. Cardell Jones put out a tweet that said, and this goes back to February 10, 2015. He went back and put up a tweet that said, quote, "Man, I wish everyone would stop saying I beat a kid in the hospital 91-35. It was 98-35. I had 91 with $1.26 left in the fourth, and I scored again."
I mean, how proud are you if you're that kid scoring 35 on Cardell Jones?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Wow.
So, point here is, let me get back to where I was going with all of that. For those of us that grew up on sports games, for a very long time, NCAA and Madden, one or the other, and FIFA, those were the games. Tiger Woods got introduced in there at one
You try to
point.
squeeze that in there. That's not going to work.
Which one, Tiger?
Throwing in FIFA.
No, dude, FIFA FIFA globally is the most popular game on planet
We're talking
Earth.
about America. We're
FIFA
not talking about the world. We're talking about America. Does the world care about the NCAA
right,
college
listen,
football game?
I'm
no.
not going down. I'm not going down that path.
Yeah, because it was a nice try.
It's not a nice
just didn't
try.
work. I called you
Okay.
out on it.
Then for me and my friends, who are the only people I care about, it was Madden, NCAA, and FIFA.
There you go.
It's still FIFA for the record.
Make it about you, Rob. Your name's on the show.
You're damn right. It's always about me. So those were the games that we were all in for. And so now that the generation that grew up on the transitioning from NFL Blitz to Madden to NCAA and FIFA, and not just in that world, but watch those games transform from blocky, blurry figures on a field to graphics, man. Like graphics that we call graphics. When it went from a point that there was a day and age I remember playing GoldenEye going, how can graphics ever get better than this? And now if you showed somebody a clip from this game that was 5, 6, 7, they'd have a hard time telling you it wasn't real life.
I tried playing it when it dropped on Game Pass, and it's like, man, this is bad.
It's hard to do,
Yeah.
even if it, listen, I did because GoldenEye was a transformative game for me. But the point is, it's hard to do. So this game dropping now, this game dropping in an NIL world where you're not playing as Clemson QB 10, but you're going to play as Cade Klubnik. And now,
What a
at
selection.
a point in time where the folks that grew up on those sports games are now grown-ups, are now adults, now have console and buy your own game money. This game is going to be, I told Lonzo this a couple of weeks ago, and he and I disagreed. I imagine we still do. This is going to be the best-selling game of this year. It's not a question mark to me. That is not a prediction.
This, I believe, is and this is not trying to crack on it. From my understanding, this might be a down year as far as game releases go. So you very well maybe be right. Now, if it would have came out last year, it would have been really hard for it to be the best-selling game.
I don't think so. I think that people are, one of the things that has happened that I very much love with us, the opt-out generation. One of the things that has happened as you look backwards towards America's youths is that you recognize there is a growing acceptance of people doing what they like and not caring if anybody judges them for it. And I think because America's youths have gotten to a point where they're going to do what they like and they don't care if the older generations approve of it or not, that folks in my little age bracket look at that and go, that's kind of awesome. I kind of want to do that. That is why me and all my 40-year-old buddies with wives and kids and real jobs and responsibilities still make time to load up GTA 5 and shoot rocket launchers at helicopters because it's fun. Now, I know that when my old man was around 40, I can almost guarantee there was no world in which my dad and his buds were playing video games together. They would have been judged, mocked relentlessly for it, but we have entered a time where now it's cool to not care anymore. This game is going to, they're probably going to run out of copies first run. Like, this game is going to absolutely overwhelm the market. I would not be shocked if this is the best-selling game of the last 2 or 3 or 4 years.
FIFA people are so sensitive.
We're not sensitive. You're just wrong, and we need to make sure you know it.
Okay. All right.
I mean, look at Joey B in here telling
I know,
you about
I
it.
know that's what I'm saying. We'll see. Hey, I hope this game is as good as the wait has been. I hope it's that good. I hope you get it, go. Oh my gosh, look at the graphics. Look at this. You know, I can see the freckles on Spencer Rattler's face, although he's not there anymore. He's the first person I could think of who had freckles.
You painted yourself into a corner there for a
yeah,
second.
well, I know, but
You got out of it.
can you think of anyone who has something that would be so distinctive that you zoom in on the face and go, wow, look at that. Look at how accurate that is. I can't think of that.
Arch Manning.
Yeah, but he doesn't have like long hair. Or
He's not in the game.
Yeah, well, that's true. Not until he switches teams. Ray says we do digital downloads. We do it everywhere. I used to be a physical media guy, and then COVID happened, and it's like, digital is the way to go unless you have Series X who has limited amount of space on it. And I'm trying to find something where I could get more. I wonder if this comes out on Game Pass, Because if it does, it may hurt your sales.
Not initially. It won't. Not initially. It won't. This is going to be a $70 game with $100 collector's edition and a $150, premium, whatever. The only thing I'm interested in is twofold. One, Joey B just hit on. The first one is, I wonder if, and I really hope that they don't, though I have no faith that they don't. I really don't want to see this game go with a season pass model. Like that's the future now, is every game you purchase has a season pass, and you got to buy every 3 months. You got to buy the next season to get the new gear.
In this game, why would that be a problem? Because here's the thing. This is like Madden. You got to buy one every single year. Wouldn't you rather have a season pass so you're paying less and getting the same thing? Or would you rather buy the full game every single year?
That folds into the second concern that I have. Joey B said, EA's track record is so poor that I have no faith this game will be good, and it definitely won't be able to live up to the hype because the hype is so huge. Here's the thing. I agree with the thought of EA because I think EA got lazy. They basically have monopolized the sports gaming market. There are other companies that have tried, but at the end of the day, EA's propped up. And so because of the continued success of Madden and FIFA carrying the market every single year, EA hasn't really had to do anything to develop. This is why, as you just mentioned, and as I have said on this show many times, at most, I'm an every other year Madden guy, right? At most. I'm an every other year Madden guy because the games don't change that much year to year. There might be one new feature, the occasional new game type, but like by and large, you either get play now mode, create a player mode, or dynasty mode. And that's really it. Now, I will tell you, some of the games have added some of the, the roster, like build your own roster with cards games. That's not for me. I hate them.
That's to attract a younger audience. It's
100%.
into like Pokemon and stuff like that. Yeah.
100%. It's Pokemon, but with NFL players. And I get it. Again, it's just not for me. I want to play football, right? I don't want to draft the fantasy
WWE
league.
has some games like that
Sure.
on your phone.
Every sports franchise has these. FIFA has it. Madden has it. They all have the build your team via fantasy cards thing. It's just not my bag, but it's not everything about the game is for me. All I hope is that EA looks at this and says, here's the deal. If we make a crap game, if we make a boat game here, if this game comes out and it does not live up to the hype, we will have to recognize that we hurt ourselves long term. This game has to be good. They have to match the hype here. And they have to match the hype because if they put this game out and this game sucks, how in the world are you going to try to sell me on it next year? No, guys, we promise. EA Sports NCAA 2025 is the game that you all waited literally a decade to get. This is the one. I got to tell you, man, if I roll up in here for EA 2024 and I buy this game and this game sucks, I'm not going to trust you when you tell me that 2025 is good. This game has to meet the mark.
Have you checked to see if it's going to be available on last-gen consoles? Because it may be a deal where, because you haven't got a new one yet, you may have to go get one. I'm just saying you might need to check and see that.
Daddy's getting a new one. I'm getting the new one. I just talked myself into it. Okay? I've just talked myself into it. Don't tell my fiance.
No, listen, you have to for work because
it's show prep.
Absolutely.
It's obligatory.
Absolutely.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm in. I am down for it. I think it's going to be good. I have been following the developers' updates as they put them out. They're pretty intense. Like scanning the locker room to get the locker rooms 3D accurate. You're going to give me locker rooms that are 3D accurate? I'm going to hope it's going to turn out all right. Texas said, Rob, with the digital downloads, they'll never run out of enough games to sell. That's fair. That's a good point. That's fair. They'll run out of physical copies, but you're right. Texter said, I don't give a what Lonzo thinks. My childhood is being reincarnated this year, and I am here for it.
Hey, good for you, man. Game how you game. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just saying I am curious about sales. That's all.
It's actually said I've stubbornly held on to the PS4. I hate spending money and I'm old, but PS5 this summer strictly because I need it for NCAA football. I'm so embarrassed. Don't be. One of us. One of us. Time for break. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, quick live reading. We're right back. Y'all stay right there. Guys, I have to get a next gen console or else I can't get played. Ray, why is it not a day one purchase, man? It's day one for me.
Bugs. I mean,
but it's connected to the Xbox. Like it's not gonna fix itself slower if you don't buy it.
I would wait for something like that. I'd wait a week. or at least 3 or 4 days till they put out a couple of patches to fix problems. Because, I mean, also if depending on servers and things, sometimes, although launches lately for a couple games that are like online only have worked out fairly well, but some have not. They've crashed. So you buy it day one, you're ready to play day one, and who knows if it's has a you have to be online to play element. A lot of games are doing that now, which is stupid, but
I just want to do hood rat stuff with my hood rat friends.
which would be online. And a lot of people would want to play online. So what am I doing? It's not time yet.
Yes, Shane, I am an Xbox guy. Have been from the college days, my man.
I try to be all three when I can afford it, which is usually like a couple years after they've been out. But although I barely play my Switch at all because I got a Switch Lite and now my eyes don't work right and it's too small. Even my glasses won't help me. There are certain games I just cannot play at all. And those are the ones that I bought. So
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob and the Great Malonzo with you, rolling through another lovely Tuesday. The National Football League, as we have told you a couple of times as of late, is considering changing its kickoff rules. The consideration comes after this past season where a solid chunk of kickoffs were not returned. There were roughly 2,000 plus kickoffs this year. About 500 of them got brought back. It got brought back at a clip around 23%. And the NFL's competition committee is going to hear a change because they do not want the kickoff to become a, quote, ceremonial play. That according to the son of Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, who is a member of the NFL competition committee. Now, it looks like they might be tinkering with the onside kick rule as well. According to the NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, the NFL is working on adjustments to onside kicks and also considering a series of rules designed to make kickoffs exciting again. NFL special teams coordinators reportedly met at an NFL scouting combine meeting over the weekend and crafted more rules for onside kicks, which are harder to pull off than ever before. According to Pelissero, teams would only be able to attempt an onside kick if they are trailing in the fourth quarter, and they would be obligated to let the other team know that they are doing it in advance.
just eliminate it. I mean, you've done everything to make it nearly impossible to work. Just go ahead and eliminate the onside kick. One of the most exciting things in football when it works, you've already hamstrung it to where no one can make it work hardly at all. I mean, how many successful onside kicks were there last year? Like 2?
Few.
Yeah.
Very
so,
few.
I mean, just eliminate it.
So there is the discussion that might be the case. Pelissero put out a tweet that said, no surprises. New NFL rule crafted by NFL special teams coordinators would allow teams to attempt an onside kick only when trailing in the fourth quarter and require them to declare it in advance per sources. Now, some of you may or may not know this about me. I am a Saints fan. The single most, I know, shocking.
Wait, come on.
Shocking.
Come on. No one believes that.
As a New Orleans Saints fan, to me, the greatest play in the history of the Super Bowl was the Saints' onside kick against the Colts to start the second half, which completely and entirely shifted the dynamic of that football contest when it happened. You take, obviously, this new rule that goes away. I Also recognize, however, and this is the unfortunate reality of this situation, that if you go with the new kickoff rules, the ones that have been proposed, that is the old XFL rule, that you are effectively creating a situation where you can't onside kick. I'm going to tell you how I'm handling this if I'm the NFL. I'm not overthinking it. If you want to go for an onside kick, you line up on your own 25-yard line and it's 4th and 15. And you run a normal offensive play. And whatever the result of that play is, that's where the defense, if you do not convert, takes over. If you successfully convert a 4th and 15, you get to keep the ball with a fresh set of downs. Because here's the thing. Onside kicks are impossible as it is. And now granted, if you go with this rule, the spots where you are doing an onside kick are obviously obvious at this point. You're trailing in the foot. Now, maybe not wildly. If you're down 3 and the fourth quarter has just begun and you're only allowed to do onside kicks in the fourth quarter if you are trailing, then maybe you have a coach who goes bananas and goes onside kicks to open up the fourth quarter. You score a touchdown, now you're down 3 instead of 10, and you try to take them by surprise. The problem is now the ref's going to make an announcement.
New Orleans will be attempting an onside kick.
All right, well, now I'm not. The element of surprise is gone when you announce it on a freaking stadium, PA.
Will you be penalized if you change your mind? Yeah, we were going to. Never mind.
Well, I'm going to say no because I don't know. First of all, I can't.
If you declare, do you have to do the onside kick?
I don't know. Like, that's the other part is if you are an NFL team and you are lining up for an onside kick, yeah, and you go for the onside kick, and as you line up, you recognize the other team is prepared for the onside kick, you might change your mind. You may go, nope, it's not worth it here. This spot, it's not worth it. It's too risky. We ain't doing it. And if that ends up being what you do, then you can audible out of it. Just have your kicker send it deep on a squib, whatever. I don't know how this is going to work. I will say that I really have no interest in this at all, to be honest with you. I have no interest in this. I would rather see the 4th down effort. If you declare that you were trying an onside kick, your team lines up on the 20 or the 25, you have a 4th and maybe longer, maybe 4th and 20. But you go 4th and 15, 4th and 20. If you convert, it is your ball first down wherever that play ends. If you do not convert the first down, then the opposing team gets the ball, whatever the result of that play, which kind of makes it dicey, right? Because if I'm looking at a 4th and 15 on my 20 and I drop Patrick Mahomes back to throw a long pass and he gets sacked at the 11-yard line, now the defense has got the ball on the 11-yard line. Instead of an onside kick, which ordinarily they're getting the ball around midfield. The thing that kind of bugs me the most here is exactly what P. Digits just said in the stream chat. That is, part of the beauty of the onside kick is the element of surprise. And I'm not just talking about catch them off guard with an onside kick like the Saints did in the Super Bowl. I'm talking about when you line up for an onside kick, what's it look like? Am I going left? Am I going right? Am I going with a high bouncing kick? Am I going with a low driving kick? What am I doing here? How does this onside kick look? Am I going to try to boot it off the chest of your up man? Am I going to try to make this thing flip in the air and hope that one of my guys can go up and LeBron James it? How am I handling this, and how are you going to be prepared for that? I agree. If you are going to remove the element of surprise from the onside kick, then remove it entirely. Just get rid of the onside kick. Yes, the onside kick's hard to pull off. It should be hard to pull off. It's not something that should have any level of consistent success. Because if you onside kicked it 25%, right? If 1 out of 4 onside kicks was successful, do you know how many damn onside kicks we'd see every year? There'd be 1,000 of them. So it's got to be a low success rate. Now, I don't know. I'll be straight up. I don't know what the success rate. Let me see if I can find this while we're at it. I don't know what the success rate of long fourth downs is when you're looking at 20%. I know fourth down conversion rate in its entirety in 2023-24 was 51%. That is in line because from 2013 until 2023, the overall average rate was 51%. So I don't know what the rate is if it's a play of, and in fact, if I was the NFL, this is something that I would look at, right? I would say it is a fourth down conversion with a league-wide success rate as close to the success rate of onside kicks as I can get it. So if the onside kick success rate is 7%, then I'm going to go plug into my AI every NFL game of the past 15 years, and I'm going to say, what is the fourth and blank to go rate that has a success failure rate that is the closest to the onside kick success failure rate? And that's what you do now. If you want to go for an onside kick, let's say it's fourth and the AI says it's 4th and 22. Okay. Ball gets spotted on the 20, 25, whatever you want to pick. Ball gets spotted on that yard line. It's 4th and 22. And if you get it, congratulations, it stays your ball. And if you don't get it, it's a turnover on downs, just like normal. And wherever the defense was successful, that's where they get the rock. Now, there is one way that this plan falls apart. If you are Lamar, scratch that. If you're Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and you're playing the pick a crap defense from the NFL, then all of a sudden in that game, I might legit onside kick it 2-3 times, right? Especially if I get to a point where the game's not out of reach, but I've got a decent little lead, right? If I'm Kansas City and it's the third quarter and I'm up 17, that game's not out of reach by any stretch of the imagination. But if I've already converted a couple of fourth downs or third and longs in this game, I might go with an onside kick somewhere because, hey, if I don't get it, one touchdown from that team is not going to change the outcome that much. But if I do get it, and I go down there and score, now the game is out of reach, there's a whole new world of strategy that's wrapped up in this. But I'm going to go with, Zoe, if we go with this rule, onside kicks only in the fourth quarter, only if you are trailing in the fourth quarter, and you must announce that you are going for it, the onside kick success rate is going to be 0.01%.
All right. So according to the internet, since it's a big deal and everyone's looking this up, it was like the first thing that popped up here. According to the report, just 5.2% of onside kicks were successful in 2023, and only 2 were surprise onside kicks.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you eliminate them, you basically, no one was doing it.
Yeah. And let's be clear. The announcement that we're trying an onside kick, is it huge? Because I'm assuming about 98% of onside kicks are obviously onside kicks. Obviously, they're lined up for an onside kick. So that's not the bad part.
And 94.8% of them fail. So, I mean, I think I did the math right there.
I think you're I would guess you're probably, if that's not exact, you're probably all over it. What I would say is this. You have an onside kick success rate of 5%. So you have two options here. You can either go look at every fourth and over 20 yards of the past 20 years and find the yard mark where the success rate is 5%, and you go from now on, onside kicks are 4th and 24, because in the NFL, 4th and 24s have a 5% success rate like an NFL onside kick, and we're doing that. Or you just do what they're doing, because, again, the announcement part is not a big deal. What is a big deal is limiting it only to the fourth quarter and only to teams that are trailing. I don't know. How do we feel about it? Let's take a break. My name is Rob Brown, the Great Lonzo on the ones and twos. We wrap up hour 3 when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Do I have a bathroom break here?
1, 2, 3. Yes, you do. That's funny, Trey. By the way, these ain't gang colors. If they were, this is my turf. So, I mean, you know. So, if you're wearing different colors, you're bringing them over onto to my spot. So you're wearing the gang colors. Yeah.
Construction I-26 both sides in between 292 and Highway 11, the right lane blocked on each side of the roadway, and a crash on Howard Gap Road between Indian Mountain Road and Page Farm Road.
It's kind of been telegraphed, James. We've talked about this a little bit earlier. They got to protect The Rock because he hasn't wrestled in a long time. Last time he did, he got hurt. So. By the way, Digits, this is the Ohio State. Yeah, over here. Yeah, there's where the patch is. The Ohio State University. All I can say is never forget where you come from.
Electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on Auto Trader. Just you wait.
Yeah, my eyes have gotten me in a lot of trouble in football because I was had trouble making eye contact until my coach my senior year. If you didn't make eye contact, you ran laps. After the first couple practices, he couldn't shake my stare because I was not running anymore. It was a valuable life lesson. I have to force myself to do that. Whereas Rob just strolls up and makes eye contact. Oh yeah, I'm doing that on purpose, Steven. That's just for you guys, because there's a camera here. If I stay stone-faced and stoic,
stone-faced killer.
Where's the fun in that? Plus, I'm also trying to see what Rob's actually looking at. So if he's looking at the screen, he will see that I did that, and if he's not, then I got away with it. So there's that.
So I moved the camera over here, obviously, which is away from the screen, which is over there, obviously. And I'm not looking at it.
It does not say Flask. That's funny, though. Because I put my jacket on is covering the H, and it makes it look like a K. Still not. I'm still not happy with the camera angle because it puts something front and center that bothers me, an eyesore that I just can't. And it's the color scheme. It's the one thing that doesn't work in that whole frame.
The Rob Brown Show with Lonzo rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo. That's him right over there. We are glad to have you with us.
I don't know what's going on with the studio today, but the birds, man, they've been coming at this window hard all morning, and I'm worried we're going to have a kamikaze situation.
Did you see the two guys at the combine who decided that they wanted to have a little fun with it? Or they're right off my draft.
What I'm at a good point. Have you ever seen any baby pigeons? I've never seen any baby pigeons. Have you seen any baby pigeons?
Yeah, because
when
on Google.
Okay,
just Google baby pigeons.
Yeah, because the pictures can be doctored.
You realize Mike Tyson raises them. You think Mike Tyson's in on this conspiracy?
Of course.
You think the government went to Mike Tyson and they were like, hey, we need you to help us convince people that pigeons aren't drones. And Mike was like, yeah, I can do that. I'll raise some pigeons.
He's actually a super genius, and the other thing's a front.
Because
who's going to tell him otherwise? You going to go tell him he's not a super genius?
I mean, no, but I'm not. But I'm not going to believe he's not. Respectfully to Iron Mike,
he'll beat it into you saying you are a super genius.
I don't think anybody took as many shots to the noggin as Mike did towards the end of his career and hangs on to super genius. So I could be wrong. But no, I don't think Mike is in on the birds aren't real conspiracy theory. Okay, but he wasn't the only one. There was also Texas Tech's Tyler Owens. Did you see Texas Tech Tyler Owens and his comments on outer space? Tyler Owens said that he doesn't believe outer space is real. Owens told media members last Thursday that he does not believe in outer space. Not that he doesn't believe in the Taylor Swift song. He said in a video, you know what? Forget it. Here's the damn video because I went and found it for you. Let me get it pulled back up because, of course, it went away. I don't care. I don't care what led you to that point. I don't care. My man said, we don't have outer space. We're in a dome. There's no outer space. Dude, you can go out and look at it. Just go outside at night and look up. It's right there. You can see it from here.
You see the absence of light because the sun is no longer here. But does that
because the sun is
does that
in outer space,
or it's a really big light bulb
on the other side of the planet, which is round, by the way.
It's a really big light bulb.
Oh God, I'm gonna go ahead and go as Wesley just said. Get that guy drug tested immediately. Now, there's a problem, Wesley. There are a lot of people that believe that have never touched a drug before.
And maybe there are some people who mess with people who really are gullible enough to believe that I believe that.
I know people.
By the way, when I say birds aren't real, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Of course they're real.
The problem, though, is not the birds aren't real conspiracy. That one's actually hilarious to me.
Because, when a pellet gun as a teenager, one just came at the window again, taking out some birds, and they were real.
Yeah, just go shoot a duck.
Yeah,
all right?
Or geese. You can come over here and go out back.
Yeah, please do that. But I don't believe. Here's the thing. My man, Tyler Owens, is at the NFL scouting combine. It is, by definition, the biggest job interview of his life. And he decided when it was time to crack a mic and talk to representatives of 32 potential. That's it. 32 potential employers. That's it. In the game he's in, there are 32 potential employers. And he decided to sit literally in front of the hiring manager of all of them and say, outer space isn't real, dude. Bro. What are we doing here, Tyler? What are you doing, my guy?
I would have asked Tyler, so that plane that you flew here in, what happens if it goes too high? Would it like hit the dome?
Yeah, it's gonna hit the dome, dude.
Yeah, and yeah, would that happen, or would you like go into space?
Listen, when I go down to Falls Park and the flat earth losers are there, it is my favorite day. Whatever day that is, that's my favorite day.
If you're on a stream, look at his eyes. That's legitimate.
It's
glee.
my favorite day.
Yeah, yeah.
I go about once a week. I go down to Falls Park and walk the dog. I like to get the dog a little social time, see other dogs, experience the world, see the sights, smell the smells, hear the sounds. And every now and then, there's a bunch of dork-ass losers in white lab coats that they got off of Amazon because we're totally real scientists. We did that experiment.
I don't know if those combinations of words was a good idea, but I mean, it's too late
I'll
now.
say it again.
Don't say it again.
Down there in their Amazon Prime lab coats because they're super real scientists. And who do they pick up? They don't go up to a, they don't see a guy like me and go, let me go talk to that guy. They try to talk to the kids that are down there because they know that anybody with half of a brain recognizes they're full of crap. And they talk to these dudes, and immediately all of us go, you're a bunch of losers. All of you. Find a friend. I'll be your friend. If you need a friend that bad, I will meet you for a beer. If you just need a friend, I'm that kind of guy. Find a friend. This is a college-educated athlete going for the biggest job interview of any of our lives. This is a tens of millions of dollars job interview, and in front of 32 hiring managers, the only 32 hiring managers on planet Earth for the job that he does. This is where he decided to go. Bro, lie, just for a minute, just for like 10 minutes. You can, once you get it and you go become a Pro Bowl or whatever, then you can say whatever weird stuff you want to say, right, AJ Styles? Go bananas. But for a job interview, lie. Do you know who else lies in job interviews? Everybody lies in a job interview. Every one of us. Lie. Yeah, outer space is real. What a dumb question. Can we talk about football now? Just lie. What are we doing? What are we doing? Back after this. Sports Flash.
Yeah, I don't know what AJ Styles said.
The Sports Flash is going to be out of this world.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. It's going to be free as a bird, which aren't real. The Broncos have informed quarterback Russell Wilson, let's ride. He'll be cut when the new league year starts on March 13th. Wilson released a statement thanking the city of Denver, but did not mention any team administration. In the note, the Broncos will face a debt money charge of $85 million for the move. This week, AP basketball poll is out with Houston maintaining their spot at number 1. UConn is at 2. Purdue is at 3. Tennessee and Arizona finish out of the top 5, or finish out the top 5 rather, with North Carolina at 7, Duke at 9, Auburn at Kentucky at 13 and 15, and Alabama at 16, one spot ahead of 17th South Carolina. Tune in Saturday night at 8 o'clock as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Western Carolina in the first round of the Southern Conference tournament right here on the Fan Upstate. Sorry, the birds are messing with me. So the theory, we recently had the building pressure washed, and since the building is clean, the birds are having to make up for lost time and trying to make it unclean because, birds, what they do. I don't know. Nope, can't say that, Joe. Yeah, if you are a flat earther, can you say around the world? You can't say around the, what do you say? If the Earth is flat, is it still round? I mean, because I don't know, or is it a rectangle? Get a flat earther on the phone. I need to know. Nearly, James. That's my concern. So Rob, if the Earth is flat,
It's not.
If it was though,
But it's not.
what shape would it be?
A disc is what they claim.
They claim it's
Like
a disc.
dish.
Oh,
It's like a soap dish.
oh, okay, all right. Well, that makes sense. Can they say around the world though?
One of the greatest internet memes of all time was when the Flat Earth Society on Facebook said the Flat Earth Society has members all around the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys are perfect.
Yeah,
You're all perfect.
Yeah, you can't say that. So
You're all perfect.
So you left the room and the birds kept coming at the window while I was reading my last
heard you,
thing.
bro.
Yeah,
They hurt you.
I guess it could just be spring and a nice day out. Or they have to remark the territory after the building's been cleaned, which is my other theory. It's got to be harder to do using it as a straw. Because it takes extra effort rather than just.
But so here's what I did. Yesterday I figured out I can moonshine it.
Is that how you moonshine? Okay, so that's a legitimate.
You know how on a moonshine bottle they have that one little ring?
No, I've seen it on TV, but I mean, so you legitimately would drink moonshine that way, or have drank it that way? Okay.
They do it. You're pulling off a moonshine jug. That's why they have that tiny little handle on it. It's for one finger.
I'll let my revenue friends know about that.
It is a 1 gallon water bottle to the people who are asking right now. I'm trying to drink a gallon of water a day, and it turns out I have to pee all the time.
The nighttime's the worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah. For me, it was like once an hour having to get up. And
It's awful.
Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The final hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This, friends, is the Fan Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do, upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. What's up, world? It is, as always, beyond spectacular to talk to you. You, as an audience, ladies and gentlemen, out of this world. You're all amazing people. We are glad to have you. I am Rob Brown, the great Lonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glasses. Sam, should you elect to be a part of the radio broadcast, there are multiple ways for you to do just that. You can, of course, get us on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone at 844-326-3663. You can tweet us at the Rob Brown Show or at Lonzo on Word. If you want to get at us in that direction, you are welcomed and encouraged to do so. You can hit us up on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will, of course, read them on the radio broadcast this morning. All the different ways for you to reach out and be a part of the show. We have talked some National Football League so far today. We talked some college football earlier in the show. We've talked about this new onside kick rule the NFL is considering making. I want to get to a couple of one-off stories. This past weekend, if you missed it, and I don't know how you did, but if you missed it, this past weekend, LeBron James scored his 40th 40,000 career point. 40,000 points. He is the only NBA player in history to reach the 40K plateau. Of course, LeBron set the NBA's all-time scoring record last year, passing Kareem the Dream Abdul-Jabbar. This year, he ends up at the 40K mark. Listen, you can criticize, heck, dislike LeBron James if you would like to, for whatever reason. You don't like the way he plays the game. You don't like his politics away from the game. Whatever your reasoning for it, this is America. You are welcome to like or dislike whatever it is that you want.
America.
Thank you, Jim. I am also going to say, if you dislike watching the guy play, I kind of need to know why. Now, you can dislike that he whines when he plays.
I mean, Rob, because he's not Michael Jordan. And stop saying he's Michael Jordan. That's why I don't like how he plays. That's why I don't like what he does. That's why I don't like anything, because he's not Michael Jordan. I don't know if you knew that.
I've been told.
Okay. All right. So I think from now on, when you say LeBron James, you need to say LeBron James, not Michael Jordan.
AKA not Mike. So you can dislike not Michael Jordan for whatever reason you dislike not Michael Jordan. And that's fine. I accept it. I don't agree with it. This dude playing in his 21st, his NBA career is old enough to buy a beer.
You know who didn't do that? Michael Jordan.
Well, it's because he's not Michael Jordan. My dude's career is old enough to buy its own brewski at this point. That, friends, is a lot of years of service in the National Basketball Association. That's a lot. And he has been, and this is true, you can check the record books, very successful during his time as not Michael Jordan. Like, real good during his time as not Michael Jordan. Not Michael Jordan, a.k.a. LeBron James, is pretty much called his shot throughout his career. I know that it is cliche, and I know a lot of you don't, can't, won't, refuse to like it. To me, we are at a very fortunate point in time that we got to watch this cat play, man. 40,000 career points. To me, we are lucky to have gotten to watch this guy play. And even if you don't like him, what I don't think can be questioned is how important he has been to the NBA. Now, I will say this, LeBron did get up under my skin a little bit after he got to 40K, because after he got to 40K, they went and they talked to Braun, and they said, hey, man, what's this mean for you? And LeBron went on the, well, you know, they wanted to see me fail. They said I couldn't do it. LeBron.
Oh, please, you're not doing that too. Are you? Are you? You're actually going to do that? He's absolutely right. There are people out there who said all that about him. There's people who say that about successful people all the time. Please don't.
Lonzo.
Please don't.
Everybody said that. You are telling me that when this guy was seeing NBA games preempted to put his high school
you are making me
TV.
defend LeBron James, who I left a while back. And he generalized, which you have done, which I have done. People do it all the time. He can't do that, though. I mean, if he says one little thing that's suddenly it's headline news. There were a lot of people who wanted him to fail because of all the attention he got. Why? Because there are people out there like that. They want to see someone build up only to be torn down. They want to see someone not succeed, because there are true contrarians out there, unlike anyone in this room, who just want to see the opposite of what is happening. Why don't you play the full cut, man? Because, I mean, come on. There we go.
I am not making the argument that there aren't, wait for it, because there absolutely are I'm not arguing
See,
that.
you don't want to be a shock jock. This is so 3 o'clock, man. Don't do it.
What I'm saying is LeBron hitting us all with nobody thought I could do it. Like, one thing that has driven me crazy for years, and maybe this is just because I'm in the PR game to some degree, is the generalizations, the repetition of rhetoric amongst athletes. This is why we have the coach speak alarm, because sometimes guys hear other guys say things and they're like, oh, that's what you say. And then you have these guys who just repeat the things, right? It's just they're gonna say the same things as everybody else. And
Shut the hell up.
Right. It does get a little bit aggravating. Nobody's gonna push back on that. Now, with that out of the way, let me just say LeBron James is a guy that I feel fortunate to have seen play. LeBron James is a guy that I feel fortunate was a player during this era. I think basketball needed a LeBron James. I think it needed in the early portion of his career. I think it needed a challenger to Kobe Bryant, because here's the thing. When you think about the great players at any given sport in any given age, they have to have somebody to push them. They have to have a nemesis. You got to have a great bad guy to have a great good guy. Mike had his. Kobe, at the end of his career, Kobe had LeBron. And I think that we needed that guy. And let's be clear, LeBron has needed those guys too. That is why we are all questing to find out when LBJ calls it a career, whether it's at the end of this year or the next one, who's that next guy? Who's going to step in? Who's going to take the role of being the face of the league? Is it Luka Doncic? Is it Nikola Jokic? Is it Joel Embiid? Is it Trae Young? Is it Zion Williamson? Who's the guy that when LeBron walks, he gets his year with Bronny or whatever? By the way, that's a whole different story we got to get to. Bronny James says he'll come out depending on team interest, not who might get him, which is fair. I do hope that as much as LeBron has said, I want to play a year with my kid, which for the record, I think is awesome. I also hope that LeBron's being a good dad and saying, listen, here's what I want, but at the same time, you got to do what's best for you, dog.
No, he's LeBron James. Wherever his son goes, if he wants to play with them, that team will have him.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Cody asked me last week, Cody Decker on Bet for the Cycle last week was like, do you think LeBron's a Laker next year? And I said, it 100% depends on if the Lakers say they'll draft Bronny or not. It depends on if the Lakers are willing to do whatever it takes to get Bronny. Because here's the other aspect. How cool would it be for Bron and Bronny? I should say, how cool would it be to Bron and Bronny? For Bron, I hate Bronny. For Bron and no, I don't hate the person. I just hate the nickname.
Is he LeBron Jr.?
He is LeBron
Well,
Jr.
just call him Junior.
How cool would it be for Bron and Junior, not just to be on the same team together, but to go to like a crappy team somewhere? What if they showed up in Charlotte together? Because Charlotte stockpiled enough, and Charlotte called Bron and said, yo, if you come to the CHA, we will draft LeBron Jr. with the first overall pick. And LeBron's like, yeah, dope, let's go. That'd be awesome.
We'll be putting in some miles heading up to Charlotte if that
For
happens.
sure.
So will a lot of people.
For sure. That would be a franchise-changing situation for any team. Now, again, I don't necessarily think that means it's going to happen. I think it's an interesting thought experiment. But regardless of how all of that plays out, LeBron James is the face of the NBA right now. And regardless of what the future holds for this guy, I'm not going to say we're never going to see another 40,000 point score. Because 10 years ago, we never would have said we will ever see a 40,000 point score. And I'm going to go one step further and say that while if there is a player who heavy load manages during his career, load management would be a reason that a potential 40K score never gets there. Because to reach that mark, you would have to average like 32 points a game playing all 82 games for like 20 seasons to get to where LeBron is. It's a stupid number. If you averaged 40 points a game, you'd have to play every game for like 18 seasons to get there. It's a stupid number. That's how good LeBron James was specifically in his peak. So I'm not going to say we're never going to see another guy get there because it is absolutely a possibility. What I am going to say is we'll be lucky if we see another guy get there during my lifetime.
So you talked about the next face of the NBA. Maybe they're not in the league yet.
Might not be. It might be RJ Davis. It might be Armando Bacot. It might be a guy who is in the league but is very young. It might be Paulo Banchero. I don't know. That's the other thing, though. While we do this every year with athletes, and why wouldn't you? During the offseason, we're all looking for something. Every year, there's that guy. Every year, there's that dude. But, sincere question, great one, take yourself back 22 years ago when LeBron James was a senior in high school. Have you ever seen hype like there was around high school LeBron? No. Every year there's that guy, and every year we get to the NBA draft, and there's that guy. This year it was Victor Wembanyama or Chet Holmgren. Every year there's hype around a guy, maybe two. This guy could be the future. This guy might be it. I have never seen hype like there was around LeBron James. LeBron James was hyped as if there was no way he was going to be a failure. I look at some of the other guys. Victor Wembanyama. There was, leading up to the draft this year of Victor Wembanyama as the number one overall, there were entire segments being done of, well, he played pro ball in France. Did they train him? Did they get him gassed up enough in France for him to come to the league and be a dude? Every year, there's that kid coming out of college, and the question mark is, all right, yeah, he's real good, but he played at this small school, or, his team didn't make it in the tournament. That's kind of on him, ain't it? Going back to LeBron, as Wesley just pointed out in our Facebook stream chat, Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, The Fan Upstate, or The Rob Brown Show on YouTube, and The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. LeBron James was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a high school player.
And by the way, all those people, he declared himself king and all, he didn't ask them to come to high school and cover him. They just did. And he's the first one that they really did all the stuff that's normal now is because of him covering kids in high school. I mean, was his talent that good? Yeah, obviously it was for them to come to a high school and start covering a kid in high school. He was that good.
He was that good. You know how I know? Because I watched him on freaking ESPN multiple times. His team would go out and smoke some poor little high school in backwoods Ohio by 90, but you were watching. Nobody's ever been hyped like this cat before, and it translated. That was 2+ decades ago. So that we're clear, I was a freshman in college when this all started. Technically, I was a senior. No, that's not even true. Not even technically. I was a senior in high school because I'm in the same grade. I'm the same age as LeBron James. He's got me by like a couple of months. I think he's September and I'm February the following.
So if his high school team would have traveled down to Florida,
they'd have beat us by 1,000. They'd have beat my junior year team when LeBron was a junior. My junior year team might have been within 25. Maybe.
Brown, get up here. We need you to foul James.
No, that was Frank Spitznagel's job. Brown was sit on the end of the bench, keep the boys hype, and if we're getting our butts beat, we'll send you in there in the last 15 so maybe you can get some points on the stat sheet, bud. I wore number 00 in basketball. You know why? That way when you looked in the paper, my stat line was zeros all the way across.
You're making that up.
I swear to you. Swear to you. You can go check. My picture still hangs in the Choctaw High School gymnasium from our state finals runner-up team.
It is cool knowing that my picture is hanging in a couple places in my high school too. It's still kind of cool knowing that, right?
I'm not gonna lie, I've gone back a couple times. I'm not a Bruce Springsteen glory days kind of guy, but if I go home and the old Choctaw Big Green Indians are playing basketball, I'll pop in the gym for 10. Nah, right up, right there, 00, baby. Anyway, point is, this dude lived up to the hype, man. This dude lived up to the hype. There are other guys. I love what Joey B just put in the chat. He said the Mount Rushmore of high school hype is LeBron James, Freddie Adu, Bryce Harper, and Tiger Woods. Correct. And I honestly, which of those guys got LeBron James hype? Bryce Harper did not. Tiger Woods did, but like Tiger Woods was getting hype as a child prodigy. Tiger Woods was on, was it like David Letterman's show when he was 7?
Or like Cavett or one of those. Yeah.
I would say LeBron got that hype. Tiger got that hype. I think Freddie Adu, for those of us that are soccer fans, probably in the mix. But Freddie Adu got that hype amongst American soccer fans. And I don't even think Freddie Adu got LeBron James' level of hype. The two guys that got that level of hype and turned into that guy, LeBron and Tiger.
It was Mike Douglas, by the way. I knew it was
sure.
one of those that's no longer on. It was a Mike Douglas show. Yeah.
Couldn't have guessed it if you gave me a billion guesses.
Because you weren't alive back then.
Nope.
Well, you were, but you just didn't know.
When was Tiger on that show? 1983? Because he's a significant number of years older than I am.
I'm trying to see if it says the age.
Tiger was a kid, and Tiger's dramatically older than me, is all I'm saying. I'm not going to say dramatically older than me. Tiger Woods is 48, so he is 9 years older.
He appeared on Mike Douglas' show at the age of 2. Putting.
So, yeah, I was not alive yet.
He was putting with Bob Hope.
Yep.
At the age of 2.
Yep. I was not alive yet.
You do know who Bob Hope is.
Yes, I know who Bob
Hope
is.
I mean, there's some people out there who don't know who Bob Hope is.
I grew up next to a military base. Half the streets in my neighborhood were named after Bob Hope. So, all of that being said, listen, I'm just going to put it this way and then I'll get out. You are lucky to be a basketball fan in the age of LeBron. You might hate him. But this is America. We hate watch, and we hate listen as much as we pleasure watch and pleasure listen, right? You listen to the show for the raw, unbridled pleasure that Lonzo gives you every day. You watch LeBron to love him or to hate him, it invokes emotion. He got that hype out of high school. He lived up to it. He is still kicking your favorite team's rear end. And even though the old guard is getting out of the way and LeBron is at my age, an old freaking man in the world of the NBA, you're still getting to watch this guy break records. Actually, that's not true. He's not breaking records anymore. He is making records unbreakable is what he's doing. And it is a freaking joy to watch. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Yeah, I have been here that long, James.
Lots of
But there are actually 3 people in the building who've been here longer than me. And they're all in the same show. And they're all in the air right now.
And now, Mark Ryan's morning sports spin powered by Ingles. Low prices, love the savings.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Kirk for the incredible job he's done with the basketball this year. You know, in the preseason, he was highlighting the fact that South Carolina finished last in the SEC, and that the previous year, no one in the SEC finished where they were actually supposed to finish. So it's almost like a guarantee that South Carolina wasn't going to finish last because the media is always wrong. Well, guess what? Not only are the Gamecocks not going to finish last, they have a chance to finish first. They're one game behind Tennessee. They host the Vols this week. If you're a Gamecock fan, I'm sure you know them. Finish at Mississippi State. They continue to get no respect to these players. Number 4, Tennessee has 6 losses. Number 17, South Carolina has 5. Make it make sense. I'd love for Shane Beamer to take a lesson.
Did you see the thing I sent you from Sports Illustrated? Oh, no.
I did. I'm going to read it after the show. I'm curious as to what their take was.
I mean, I know Sports Illustrated is going out of business, and you're probably going to say for takes like that. But they agree with me. So, I mean, you know.
So obviously it's a wonderful take.
Well, all I'm saying
I'm going to read it.
Is Sports Illustrated is with me. Was a reputable source for many years, the go-to for sports. Has the same take that I do, at least from the headline. I didn't read it either, but, you know, because we're busy.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt,
They could be, James. That's a good point. And then I would be, in essence, saying that AI agrees with me. Don't you turn this on me.
call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. The problem with the NBA right now is this. Here's how to fix it. But what is this for every sport?
What is this?
Coaching hires in the NFL, plus Jake Crane will be joining us on college football. Risers and fallers. Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan. Upstate.
Rise and shine, sports fans. Grab your coffee and a jolt of sports on the
If you're getting up this late, congratulations.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on.
You don't think this is German, is it?
I don't think so, but is it Belarusian?
It could be.
It's a big question. We've got multiple copyright strikes this week, but they're all from Germany, Russia, and Belarus. And frankly, I don't know what we ever, listen.
It's just all of a sudden, too. I haven't added any new songs. This stuff is things that we've had there for don't tell the boss, things that we've had there for about a year. So, I mean,
Russia, I get it. Germany, I understand. The Germans have no sense of humor. We like to laugh on this show. So it makes sense that Germany would come after us. But you, Belarus, I expected better out of you, Belarus.
So disappointed in you, Belarus.
I expected you, Belarus, to be better than that. Should
we rally the armada to boycott Belarus?
No, I'm not going to take this out on the people of Belarus, right? Like I assume the people of Belarus are a wonderful people. though I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm sitting here scrolling the Belarusian Wikipedia article, and I just came to the realization that I don't know anything about Belarus other than where it is.
I told you I looked it up and found like there was a big list of stars, but of people I'd never heard of before. And it's like, okay, I guess there's stars in Belarus.
Their president is Alexander Lukashenko. Their government house is in Minsk, Belarus. They changed flags in 1918. I got that now. What else do we have here? Oh, apparently Lukashenko is at least friendly with Vladimir Putin. Wait a minute. So when the Russia-Ukraine thing broke, wasn't Belarus the state that was like kind of bending over backwards to help Russia with that whole thing? I think it was. I think that's why Lukashenko is familiar in my brain. As soon as I read it, I'm like, I've heard this name before. I'm pretty sure he's like a baby Putin. Like he wants to be Putin when he grows up, but he's kind of known as being a bit of an incompetent fool. And so we can't pull it off.
So again, we're not big in the countries of the axis of evil.
I take it back, Belarus. Take it back.
We've had some problems with Korea too, if I remember in the past.
We are currently banned in Iran, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Belarus. I don't think we're banned in Germany. I think we just had a couple of videos pulled down, but we're banned in all the other ones. So I got to tell you, if there's anything I know right now, is that we love some freedom up in here. All right? Take that, Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and North Korea. America. You jerks. Hey, the franchise tag deadline's coming up here in 7 hours.
Or so.
6.5 hours. Ballparking it. Brian Burns catching the tag today. I said this earlier in the show. I'll say it again because I did have a question about it on the text line at 71307 just mere moments ago.
I'm sure Mark and Diesel will break down the whole thing with every single trade that happens by then. Or the franchise, rather.
Yeah, you're going to see a bunch of tags today. I think you will start seeing the trades probably in about a week and a half. I think most everybody is going to probably wait for the league new year to start the trade process. I think everybody wants to see what everybody else is going to do. There will be guys who end up getting traded before the draft, like Brian Burns, because if you end up with a Brian Burns, you have just wiped an entire position unit off of your war board on draft day. And if you're Carolina, obviously, and you can pull off a sign and trade, a tag and trade, that opens you up to a lot more opportunities, specifically depending on what compensation you get. I'm going to say this. A lot of Carolina fans are kind of hanging on to, we should have traded Brian Burns a couple of years back when we traded McCaffrey and we had an opportunity. And from the perspective of this is a job, it's not personal. This is a business, and sometimes you got to make business decisions, even when those business decisions kind of hurt you a little bit. I think the context of what was going on at that point is important. At this time, this was not a franchise that felt like it was years away. At the time, this was a franchise that felt like it was close. This is a franchise that thought, all right, maybe we don't have the guy at quarterback, but we got a guy at quarterback that we're paying attention to. It felt like at the time, you were probably pointed in a good direction. And Brian Burns was a dude who made no secret at the time that he wanted to be here, that he wanted to be a Panther. if I recall correctly, and I could be misremembering this. Zoe, correct me if you do or don't remember as well. But if I recall correctly, didn't Brian Burns use the term career or lifer at one point? Or at least insinuate at it?
That sounds familiar, but I cannot confirm.
Yeah, I can't remember specifically. But I thought that at some point, Brian Burns used the term lifer. Now, in fairness, if I'm trying to get a $30 million contract out of somebody, I'll kiss it too. For 30 mil, I'll say whatever you want. Whatever you want for $30 million a year. I think he used the term either a career Panther or a lifer. And as we pointed out when those NFL report cards came out last week, one of the few places that the Panthers were considered inside the top half of the league was in treatment of former players, which is, again, no secret for us. Lonzo and I, during the time that it was in Spartanburg and also that I worked here, went up to Panther training camp at least one day. And you saw a parade of former Panthers come through. They take care of their own. So I got to assume at least some part of that played into this. But when my guy hit the Cats up for $30 million, a year after he asked for $27 million and then had a down year. And again, I'm going to defend in this aspect. I'm going to defend Brian Burns, much like I defend Bryce Young for certain reasons. That defense played a lot last year, and there should be a trade-off because with more snaps, with more defensive plays, should be the opportunity for more tackles for losses, more sacks, more passes defended and breakups, etc., etc., etc. But that also means more time spent sweating it out, more time on the football field. And so while you have more opportunities to do more, you also have to do more. And I don't care if you are the world's greatest athlete. At some point, the human body is just only capable of going so long and doing so much before you wear out. That's just reality. That's just biological reality. So I'm kind of in the middle. Like, to me, Brian Burns had, I don't even like to say a down year. Brian Burns had a year, much like everybody else who played under that banner. Brian Burns had a year in which he was taxed. Not like economically, like physically. He was asked to do a lot in a situation that, frankly, was, what word do I want to use here? Real bad. So him asking for 30 doesn't shock me. Hey, consider it the you suck tax. You want me to stay here when my prime time is running out. You want me to stay here while my prime time is running out, and you want me to stay here on a team that we all know if they win 6 games next year, if they win 5 games next year, a lot of people are going to consider that a successful year.
Ugh.
I know. So if I'm Brian Burns and you want me to stay on and help you win 6 games next year, which is, and I'm bad at math, a 300% increase in the record books, then yeah, I'm going to ask you to pay, because I'll go ahead and tell you right now. Do you know what other team in the National Football League would like to have Brian Burns? Most of them. Probably all of them. If not all of them, real close to most of them. Most everybody else would love to bring Agent Zero into town. So it is fair to me, it is fair if you're number 0 to go, look, here's the deal. I like it here. You like me here. You know what I can do. I know what I can do. Because of the fact that I know what I can do and you know what I can do, what I would like you to do is pay me based on what I can do, with the realization that what I can do is on a bad team. It's just on a bad team this year. So if you want me to stay here and do what I can do on a bad team, then you are going to have to pay me to do that. And frankly, I don't think it's all that unfair of him to ask. I don't think it's that unfair of him to ask. The problem you bump into if you're Carolina is that you might want to do the old tag and trade. In fact, I would tell you, as much as I want Brian Burns in Charlotte next year, as influential as he is, as impactful as he is, as important as he is, both as a player and a leader, I want zero in the CHA next year. But there comes a point where I've got to look at what your value is as a player and compare that to what your value is as an asset. It is one thing for you to be able to generate X amount of sacks, X amount of tackles, X amount of passes defended, maybe a couple of picks, 5, 6, 7, 8 sacks during the course of the year. That's one thing. But I got to put that into the perspective on that old scale, you know, the one that you have the two things on both sides and you put them in and it goes like this back and forth. A scale, you know, a scale. On the scale, I've got to put your productivity level on one side, and then I've got to put your asset compensation level on the other side.
By the way, I'm going to go back and pull this and put walk like an Egyptian behind it and make a short out of it.
I respect that.
Because that's what you just did.
That's this, dude. That's totally different. Now you can use this now.
Thank you. Now I can combine them. It's going to be amazing.
Asset compensation. What am I going to get back? And again, the problem is I think Brian Burns could probably go for a total that makes it a no-brainer to send him out. It might not be the 2 first-round picks that you could have gotten a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was last year. It was last year people were offering that stuff for him. Why did they not see this last year and go, okay, we're probably not going to pay him what he wants. Let's just go ahead and move him now and get something for it.
Because I think the expectation
David Tepper? Maybe
yes, and I mean, yes and no. But I think it was more the expectation of we got a number 1 overall quarterback. We got a head coach that works well with quarterbacks, and we got a good defense. We might be able to do something. Don't forget that last year's season preview, there was a not insignificant number of people picking Carolina to win, yes, a trash division, but the division at the time. So in a spot where you've got the guy locked up for one more year, why make that move then and hamstring your team in a year where I need my defense to be good to give BY time to learn? Again, context, nuance to the conversation. I don't think the Panthers did wrong by not trading the guy away. I just didn't think that they were going to, I don't think that they thought that they were going to end up in this spot. But here we are. Trade deadline's at 4 p.m. I expect you will see Brian Burns' name on the TV between here and there. And you will, of course, hear his name spoken about tomorrow when we break down whatever comes next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. We got to take a break. Rob Lonzo and you. It's Tuesday. We come back. We ask what the X is going on. And then we all go home. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
I think I got time.
We all the time get people, I all the time get people who tell me that you don't look like what I thought you were going to look like. What do you think Boot Barn guy looks like?
Sam Elliott.
But just like younger, just the same guy. Just is Sam Elliott.
Yeah, it's just Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott.
Wrapping up the Rob Brown Show on a Tuesday morning. Johnny Manziel said that he is boycotting the Heisman Trophy celebration until Reggie Bush gets his trophy back on a post on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. Actually, I love this. FoxSports.com flipped it up on us, though. They wrote in a post on Twitter, now known as X. Took it over.
Yeah, but that's the other. The former sounds better than the latter. It's yeah.
He said, quote, after careful thought and consideration, I will be humbly removing myself from the Heisman Trophy ceremony until Reggie Bush gets his trophy back. Doesn't sit right with my morals and values that he can't be on that stage with us every year. Reggie Bush is the Heisman Trophy. Do the right thing, NCAA. The ball is in your court.
I don't think Reggie Bush is the Heisman Trophy, though. I mean,
no, that's Johnny Heisman. What if that? I don't know. I don't know
who actually is. It could be John Heisman, who Clemson people was. He went to Clemson or he coached at Clemson or something. I think he did. Well, he did. No, actually, he did.
The trophy was instituted in 1935 by the Downtown Athletic Club of New York, and the next year was named in honor of its first athletic director, John Heisman.
There we go. Okay. All right.
See, it was in there. It was in there.
Hence the Heisman Trophy. Yes.
I just needed it.
I don't believe Johnny Manziel for a minute. He just don't want to go.
What, you think Johnny Manziel doesn't want to go to a party?
Yeah.
Johnny
I just wonder.
Started out a free open bar party.
What's he doing nowadays? And can he afford to fly out himself if he has to pay for it himself? Think the Heisman Trust or whatever it is actually pays to have former Heisman Trophy winners?
Isn't or wasn't he playing Canadian football recently? Let's see. He spent last year with FCS Zappers, a professional indoor football team, and is a member of the fan-controlled football league currently owned by Trevor May, Dalvin Cook, Bob Maneri, Ronnie Singh.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah. On December 2nd, 2020, the Zappers team name and logo were announced along with 3 other teams, the Glacier Boys, the Beasts, and the Wild Aces.
Ooh, which team would you want to be on? Glacier Boys for life.
It's boys with a Z.
I know.
Glacier Boys.
I know.
Let's see. The Zappers also have Josh Gordon on that team. Zappers finished the regular season 2-2, securing the number 2 seed in the playoffs, but ultimately lost to the number 2 seeded Wild Aces, 32-6 in the semifinals, finishing 2-3.
There are 4 teams. I mean, how long are the finals?
I don't know. Their offensive line, I'm looking at the 2022 FCF Zappers final roster. Quarterbacks, Johnny Manziel, 4, Logan Marchie, 10, Braden Smith, running back, Anthony Jones, wide receivers, Travis Tavinen, Tredante Hill, tight ends, Block Party. The offensive line was known, hang on, it gets better. The offensive line was known as the Block Party. The names aren't on the roster. It says Block Party. The defensive line, no names on the roster. The Shutdown Squad, same with the defensive backs and linebackers. The Shutdown Squad.
So what, did they have to buy this website by the letter or something? So we can't put everybody's name on there.
I got nothing. In 2022, Manziel agreed to return to the team as player coach. The team used its other franchise tag to sign Terrell Owens. So there's that.
So T.O. is actually still playing, or this was 2 years ago.
The fans were asked if they wanted to trade Terrell Owens as well as the 1st and 16th pick in that week's draft for Beast quarterback Jason Stewart, as well as the 5th and 10th pick in the upcoming draft. The trade was approved. So my man Johnny Manziel gets on the team. He's got T.O., and then they're like, yeah, we're going to trade T.O. and all your picks to get Not Johnny Manziel as quarterback. The year before he was, the last place he was before that was the Memphis Express in the American football franchise and the Alliance of American Football during its single season of existence. Before that, 2018, he was in Canada with the Montreal Alouettes.
Wow. I mean, you got a dream and you keep going with the dream, I suppose.
You got a problem with Johnny Manziel's take of give Reggie Bush his Heisman back? I don't.
The rules of the day were such that he went against those rules and he got caught for it. So now that the rules have changed, you go back in time and go, yeah, this substance was illegal back then when you were arrested, but now it's legal. So we should let you off. Yeah, I do have a problem with that. I do. Abide by the rules of the day, and you got caught, you got busted, you did something you shouldn't have done. You shouldn't get it back.
Lonzo does not believe in the forgive and forget policy.
It is not, has nothing to do with forgiveness. We're talking about rules and laws.
Yeah, but he served his time. He served his time. He wasn't a Heisman Trophy winner for 100 years.
I think it was illegal to own 2 cows in the state of South Carolina. I mean, so you should go back and pardon. It's just weird.
All right, so if we find out that one of our coworkers owned 3 cows during that period, you sending them back to jail?
No, they got away with it. I'm sure statute of limitations is probably over.
We had
with
a coworker
that.
who got busted for having 3 cows. What an arrest record! Your Honor, he was once charged with a misdemeanor of owning too many cows.
Wait. 2 cows? He had 3 cows.
Texter said Brian Burns is not worth being the highest paid edge rusher in the NFL, yet Carolina is in a perfect position to do it. Who else on the roster are they paying? Derek Brown. That's the answer. Of those 2 guys.
It's a good answer, by the way.
As much as I love Brian Burns, Derek Brown is a more important player to this team right now. Brown is a more important player to Carolina. So if I have to pick between the 2, which I don't, but if I do, DB's getting the DB's getting the money. That dude is playing out of his mind right now. Anyway, Twitter was fun.
No, we could do one. We can do one. All right. The one thing that's Xing is diarrhea Dwayne. There we go. I got my one in. It's a short break, so we had some time. So
that's
yeah,
right.
Diarrhea Dwayne.
Way to go, Seth.
Why are you not saying it?
Way to go, Seth.
I want you to say diarrhea Dwayne.
I gotta tell you, how we have, you got a list of words you won't say. I don't know why that word
diarrhea.
Yeah,
diarrhea.
Yeah, that's a word I can't bring myself to do. I'll say all the other words.
There's a song about it that I remember. I think it was in the movie Parenthood with Steve Martin.
What?
When you're driving in the car and it goes really far, diarrhea.
Okay, all right.
Diarrhea, Dwayne.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, grown man, father and grandfather, Lonzo.
Yeah, and you don't like the word diarrhea. Next, you're going to say you don't like the word moist.
Nope. See, most people hate moist. Moist doesn't bother me. That word, I don't know why that word.
What if it's moist diarrhea?
All right. The Rob Brown Show, the fan upstate. Yeah.
That'll get me in the office, probably.
Well,
out of all the weird things I've ever said.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. I got to go to a meeting now, so I appreciate it. You're all spectacular people. Have a lovely rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow, I hope. Bye.